Youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Tune in every Wednesday night this hockey season for Smashville Live from 6 to 7 p.m. Smashville Live features exclusive interaction with Nashville Predators players, broadcasters, and celebrities. They'll break down the latest on the ice. Listen every Wednesday night at 6 on ESPN 1025 The Game, or you can now watch live on thegamenashville.com, Facebook Live, Twitch, and YouTube. Smashville Live is presented by New Amsterdam Vodka, the official vodka of the NHL, Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
Hey everybody, Robbie Stanley here to tell you about my friends at Jasper's. Jasper's is a casual restaurant and bar located on West End Avenue, equipped with TVs, a game room available for private events, a grab-and-go market, and free parking. Yes, free parking. This neighborhood spot is Nashville's new go-to restaurant and bar. You can try their selection of elevated bar food ranging from appetizers to chicken sandwiches to flatbread pizzas and the famous Smash Burger, as well as any of their delicious cocktails. So visit my friends at Jasper's, located at 1918 West End Avenue, and tell them that Robbie sent you.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
New school, new job, new home. Change is hard and can leave you feeling isolated. And divorce delivers one of life's hardest blows. The relationships you counted on are suddenly gone. But you don't have to walk through this alone. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has guided men through the challenges of divorce. You're not alone. Call Cordell & Cordell.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Nashville area attorneys. 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, and now Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. And Focus, got the blood orange Focus with me right here. PHOCUS, naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. Also got the peach right here with me, some peach Focus. We are live today here on a Reaction Monday. We are live at 312 Pizza Company in Germantown prior to the College Football National Championship, Alabama, Georgia. 312 Pizza Company, home to the best pizza in Nashville and a great spot to watch the big games. They do have TVs all over the place. So come on down, 312 Pizza Company at 371 Monroe Street, and hang out with us. We'll be here till 6, and the championship game kicks off tonight at 7. So we got prizes like Dierks Bentley tickets, 312 Pizza gift cards. Come by 312 Pizza Company and win some great prizes. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria. Caroline Fenton is here today. Ian is here today. The Tennessee Titans are the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs, and we spent weeks and weeks and weeks talking about what it would take for them to get the 1 seed, who had to win, who had to lose, what would the 1 seed mean, and in this case, literally everything you could have wanted, the Titans got. Everything you could have wanted. 2 home games at Nissan Stadium. You win the first divisional round. The AFC title game is guaranteed to be here. What about a matchup in the first round you like? Titans are either going to play the Patriots, the Raiders, or the Bengals. I'm making the assumption that the Steelers are not going to win. You're either going to play one of those teams. I think most people would prefer that. The Titans will not have to see Buffalo or Kansas City until the AFC Championship game. So the 2 best quarterbacks in the conference, Joe Burrow's good, but traditionally the 2 best quarterbacks in the conference, you don't have to play until the AFC Championship game. That's good. Derrick Henry's going to be back. That's good. All these things that you want, all these things that we talked about, it looks like it's going to happen, and that's good. But really what I've heard the last couple of hours, or really the last 20 hours or so, 19, however many it's been since the game was over the other day, was just all this love for the Titans. just everybody. That Mike Vrabel, coach of the year, and they persevered, and all the injuries and the season they had, and oh gosh, just love on the Titans. And you all know me. You all know I grew up a huge Titan fan. You all know we talk about the Titans every day. You all know that I want them to win. But that's not what I care about. Like, I hear a lot of people talking about things that don't matter today. People are talking about, well, the number one seed. No, the number one seed gets you a bye, which is important because everybody else is going to play a football game where everybody can lose somebody good. If you watch the Sunday night football game, the Raiders' best defensive player yesterday might have been the defensive tackle Phylon. And guess what? He got hurt. And I think he probably tore his ACL. So everybody else has to play a game you don't have to play. That matters. Well, this team persevered throughout the year. This team, they fought, that doesn't matter. That does not matter. What happened this year, all the different players you've used, doesn't matter. Mike Vrabel proved he should be coach of the year. That doesn't matter. In fact, I loved it today. Vrabel was asked, even though he was asked about it after the game yesterday, Vrabel was asked about being coach of the year. Listen to Vrabel talk about it because he knows it doesn't matter going forward. Take a listen.
Hey, Mike, plenty of talk around everywhere, really, about you being up for NFL Coach of the Year. How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts?
The same thoughts I had last night, Chris, that may be interesting, but it's not important, and we have to focus on things that are important, and that's trying to play better and prepare. Just because any mistakes are just magnified in the playoffs against good teams. Just the magnitude, there's not going to be an opportunity to have, the game that we had against Pittsburgh where you do a lot of good things, but you turn football over. And if you lose a game like that, your season's over.
Vrabel knows. He knows. All the other stuff, the things that you're excited about, that doesn't matter. What matters going forward is what are the Titans' chances to get to the Super Bowl? That's what matters. And yesterday, by winning the game, they put themselves already further in the playoffs than everybody else in the AFC. That matters. What you thought about the Kansas City coach, that doesn't matter. What you think about, I think that this guy, the Titans only had one Pro Bowler. Indianapolis had 7. Ha ha. That doesn't matter. That does not matter today. What matters is how your team can get to the Super Bowl, and your team put themselves in position to have a legitimate shot at getting to that Super Bowl. Now, the game yesterday, that was a bad football game for the Tennessee Titans. And you heard it kind of in Vrabel's voice right there about, there's a lot of things we got to clean up. He's right. I think it's hilarious that after the Titans won yesterday, and I was ecstatic the Titans won yesterday too. I'm not taking anything away from them. It's been a very trying season. It's been very up. It's been very down. They've had a lot of injuries. They've had a lot of guys that have had to step up. None of that matters now. Yesterday's football game was a bad football game from the Tennessee Titans. It wasn't even a great first half. It was an okay first half. They missed a field goal. They stalled out on a couple of drives. They got the biggest gift in the world of a pass interference call that even Gene Steratore came on the Texan Titans game to rip apart. And they ended up getting a big lead. The second half was an embarrassment. I mean, you got Davis Mills out there throwing like Dan Marino. Guess what? That matters. And here's why it matters. Because if you get into a playoff game against, Pittsburgh, for example, or the Raiders, who I think we can all agree aren't as good as the Titans, and you get a big lead playing with a lot of emotion at home, and all of a sudden you are up 20-0, you gonna take your foot off the gas at halftime? Caroline, what happened when the Titans played the Steelers at Pittsburgh in the first half?
I mean, they looked good in the first half.
What happened in the second half?
They blew it, and they turned the ball over, and they handed the Steelers the game.
There you go. This kind of a pattern with the Titans, by the way. Titans are given no chance to win. No one thinks they can do it. Nobody believes. Titans go out there and dominate every time. Rams, Chiefs, Bills, Titans did it. Every time that the Titans got a little comfortable, Jets, Texans, this Texan game yesterday, they got to figure that out. If Vrabel is the coach of the year, like everybody is just dying to beat the drum for, which I'm fine with Vrabel getting coach of the year. I have no problem with that. But if Mike Vrabel is really the coach of the year that you all, this coach, we love this coach of the year, then you can't have a mental slip up in the playoffs. And I think Vrabel's scared to death of it. With the number 1 seed comes a lot of expectations. With the number 1 seed comes a lot of bravado. That bravado does not matter if the New England Patriots come in here. Bill Belichick doesn't care. I know. They stunk it up the last month of the year. They lost to the Dolphins yesterday. They didn't look like a very good team. And guess what? If they come in here, let's say they beat Buffalo, and let's say Buffalo screws themselves over like we've seen Buffalo do sometimes this year, and the New England Patriots are coming in here for the first round of the AFC playoffs, guess what? You take Bill Belichick lightly, you're going to be going home. This is the playoffs. The Titans have done everything that absolutely had to happen in order to get the perfect position for them in a year where there is no clear-cut favorite. And there's not even no clear-cut favorite in the AFC anyway with the AFC playoffs. There's not really week to week a clear-cut favorite in these games. Denver stunk this year, and they were a fumble and a non-Drew Lock tackle away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought they were going to beat the Chiefs in the second half of that game, until they fumbled it right to the Chiefs. That is a tiny margin for error against the team. That Texan team is horrible yesterday. That you had to, by the grace of the Lord and one incredible play from Ryan Tannehill, that you had to have in order to win that game. So the AFC week to week, Jacksonville beat Buffalo and Indianapolis. The worst team in the AFC playoffs, Pittsburgh, beat you, the best team in the AFC playoffs. So you can't get too cocky, and you better not get too cocky, and that team better not get too cocky, because the second they get too cocky in these AFC playoffs, like yesterday proved, they're going home. Now, this is the other part of yesterday's game that mattered. Ryan Tannehill played to his $29.5 million contract yesterday. I got a lot of messages yesterday on Twitter. What do you think now of Tannehill, Jared? You've been on him all year. What do you think now? The fourth quarter Ryan Tannehill, and you can throw in the second quarter Ryan Tannehill too. The fourth quarter Ryan Tannehill yesterday was the Ryan Tannehill that I have been begging for this entire year. Did you notice the stat line? Ryan Tannehill didn't throw for 500 yards like Joe Burrow. He didn't go out there and complete every pass. But all year, when everybody kept telling me, well, Jared, Ryan Tannehill's struggling because he's got problems with the offensive line and he's got wide receivers out, and what do you expect him to do? And I kept telling you, he needs to make a play where he elevates his team. Against the Steelers, all the momentum was with the Steelers. And you all came at me saying it's not his fault Racey McMath fumbled the ball. Take it easy on him for fumbling the snap from the center. And I kept saying no. At some point, you got to make a play that is going to elevate your team. That is why you're paid more money than everybody else. That's why you make more money than Tom Brady. That's why you make more money than Matthew Stafford. That's why. And yesterday, when everything was on the line. Because if they had lost yesterday, I don't think they'd have a chance to compete for the Super Bowl. I don't think they would have been able to go the route they'd have to go. They could beat the Steelers at home, sure, but we also saw they can lose to the Steelers. They'd have to go Steelers, Buffalo, on the road to Kansas City. And I don't think you're getting to the Super Bowl with that road. So everything was on the line yesterday. And the defense had put their feet up at halftime, and they were useless in the second half. And the wide receivers that made some plays here and there, but the running game wasn't doing much in the second half. The coordinator had his head up his ass, and there had to be somebody yesterday to make a play. And who made it? Was it the mouthy left tackle that only is available for half the games? Nope, he was standing right there picking his rear end watching. It was the quarterback who got out of the sack, scrambled around, and found a wide-open Nick Westbrook-Akina 30 yards down the field. And that play won you the ball game yesterday. That decisive throw to Julio Jones in the end zone for the touchdown won you the ball game yesterday. Tannehill won you the game. And I'm sure there will be some people out there that say, well, it was the Texans. Can Tannehill go out there and win you the game against somebody better than the Texans? I think he can play like that because that's how he played in 2019, because that's how he played in 2020. He elevated at times the team. He did that in the fourth quarter yesterday. That matters to me today. All the talk about Vrabel should be coach of the year and we should be throwing a parade for all the injured guys the Titans had this season. They played with 90 guys. I don't care about that. Right now, according to Vegas, they say that the Chiefs and the Bills I don't care about that. Quarterback showed up in the fourth quarter yesterday, played better than he's played all year. I care about that. That's a big deal. That matters. Titans showed once again that when they take something seriously, they can beat somebody. And they showed that when they don't take it seriously, they can lose to anybody in the NFL. Yeah, that's a big deal to me too. Every team in these playoff games, when they get down, and they're going to get down in some of these games, every team thinks they can come back. Every team you will play, you can get up 21-0 in the first game against the New England Patriots, and Mac Jones is going to think he can come back and win. And guess what? You may laugh at the idea of Mac Jones and the way that he's played the last month coming back and winning. You may laugh at the idea of Cincinnati having to pass every play on the road with that offensive line coming back and winning. You would take right now a 21-0 lead going to halftime at any of these divisional round games. And guess what? Davis Mills proved yesterday that if you don't show up for the second half, or you don't show up for a ball game, or you don't show up for a drive, you get too cocky and arrogant, you will be going home. Davis Mills with no Brandon Cooks showed you that yesterday. You don't show up, you're going home. So that was my takeaway from yesterday. Congratulations to the Titans. Congratulations to Vrabel and Robinson. Congratulations to Tannehill for finally having a game that we've been saying he had to have. And congratulations to the Titans for having the number 1 seed. But guess what? They're going to have to play a little bit better. They're going to play a little bit more focused going forward. 615-737-1025. Your reaction to yesterday's game. 615-737-1025. By the way, I do think that when everything's on the line and it is, you got to make the play to get your team the number 1 seed and you make the play, or it's you got to make a play to beat 2-14 Jacksonville to get yourself into the playoffs, and you can't do it, you turn the ball over on 4 straight possessions. Once I hear that, I don't ever need you to compare 2 quarterbacks for me ever again. I don't need to hear from the people in the chat, Wentz is better than Tannehill. No, he's not. I don't need to hear that. Yesterday it was all on the mahogany. Tannehill showed up, Wentz didn't. 615-737-1025. We got game balls to give out. I only got a couple today. This is not going to be standard game ball giving. Today, game balls are being given where they are earned, and I've only got a couple. We got that. We got Caroline's thoughts from the game yesterday. We got your phones to get to, and we got what I think is the most important question that came out of yesterday's game going forward to the playoffs. And I want your thoughts on that as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, live from 312 Pizza Company out here in Germantown. It is Stillman and Company. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Tosh is going to throw it. Lobs to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Mitchell.
The College Football National Championship is set.
Young throws, has his man. Touchdown. Slade Bolden.
Alabama versus Georgia. And it will just mean more. Tonight, coverage begins at 6.
Presented by 312 Pizza Company and Central Barbecue on ESPN.
94.9, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
It's Chase McCabe, and I'm here to tell you about BetMGM because they have a special offer for you on the College Football National Championship. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on the game. If either team scores a touchdown, You'll win $200 in free bets, regardless of your bet's outcome. It's that easy. Just use the bonus code 1025GAME200 when you make your first bet. Enjoy the national championship like never before and earn M-Life rewards that you can use for rooms and dining at any MGM resort nationwide. I'm all about that. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com. Use that code 1025GAME200 to win $200 in free bets if a touchdown is scored in the national championship. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. With Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, get a unit that lasts with their 10-year parts and labor warranty. Get ahead of the game now and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no-interest financing and 10 years parts and labor warranty on all new units. Restrictions apply and not available on all equipment. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Treating erectile dysfunction with acoustic wave therapy has been getting a lot of attention lately. But you should know that some are promising results we just haven't seen and charging a lot of money for the treatments as well. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, you really should call us first. Unlike wave therapy-only clinics, the Tennessee Men's Clinic wave therapy protocols do use acoustic wave technology, but we also often combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedure required. And even better, depending on your treatment strategy and with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment. We even have other treatments that can help you last up to an hour. Plus, for a limited time, we're waiving our normal appointment charge, which includes a PSA and T test, and offering a free ultrasound, altogether nearly a $400 value for free. So make an appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
On 3rd and goal, Tannehill looking right, nobody there, comes back, wide open, Firkser, touchdown! No flags.
There you go, Anthony Firkser, back-to-back weeks has a touchdown, and now all the Titans media and all the Titans Twitter's like, see? This is the Anthony Firkser. This is the guy this year, including Joe Rexroad today. And then when we talk about things that matter and things that don't matter, I heard Joe today talking about, and I'm not singling out Joe because he's not the only one, but this idea of like, now the Titans, they got Firkser and they got Julio and they got AJ and they got Westbrook-Akina and this, hey, let's be, whoa now. Like, whoa now. Like, let's not get too caught up in the whoa nows. But that's just me. I got a couple game balls to give out. Now, normally the rules are that you get one offense, one defense, one special teams, and move on. Today's going to be a little different. I got 2 game balls. They're both on offense. First game ball, Tannehill.
Well-deserved.
Tannehill gets a game ball. And I'm going to tell you why. Because for the first time this year, he won you the game. And you're going to have the people out there that think everybody's a homer or that think the Titans stink or all those kind of things just naturally. And when that happens, they'll be like, Tannehill sucks. And it's like, look, I'm not saying Tannehill had a good season. I'm not saying I love Tannehill. I'm not saying Tannehill's going to carry the Titans. I'm not saying any of that. But yesterday's game, Tannehill won it. And they'll say, well, but the Texans stink, so what's that about? Guess what? We took Tannehill out behind the woodshed after the last Texan game when he turned it over 4 times. Now, there were people in town that were covering, this was this guy's fault, this was this guy. Not us. We all in on Tannehill. Yesterday, Ryan Tannehill, everything was going against the Titans. And you could feel it. Like, you could feel the momentum shift. And when that happens, and I don't care what sport it is, I don't care if it's baseball, I don't care if it's basketball, I don't care if it's football, but in every instance, somebody has to come out and make a play. So if it's baseball and the other team has all the momentum and now they got runners on the corners and the tying runs on base, now you got to strike somebody out. You got to stop it. You got to make the great defensive play that starts a double play. You got to do something. In basketball, other teams on a big run, you got to hit the big shot or get the big dunk to get your team back in the game. Tannehill hasn't done that all year. You could feel it in the Pittsburgh game, just slipping right through their hands. And somebody had to make a play, and nobody did. Foreman tried, but nobody made that big play. And then afterwards, it was like blame game. Was it Westbrook-Akina's fault that he didn't run to the marker, or was it the quarterback's fault for not delivering the ball? Yesterday, everything, just like the Steeler game, everything was falling apart. The Titans' defense went to absolute dog crap in the second half, which is something that needs to be discussed. And they were treading water. I mean, they were taking it in the boat. And all of a sudden, Tannehill made that superstar play. That was a great play. And Tannehill led that drive that scored the touchdown that essentially won the game. Tannehill gets a game ball. Dontrell Hilliard gets a game ball. Because, again, winning the game, you absolutely had to have a first down, even though it's Davis Mills and the Texans, and even though the Texans stink, and even though you would hope that the sixth best defense in the NFL could get out there on the field and just once in the second half stop Davis Mills, I didn't have much hope of that happening. So once David Culley used the challenge flag, you were one first down away from winning the game. And Hilliard had a great play in order to stretch the ball over, which forced Culley to use the challenge flag, and Hilliard had an excellent run. The only good play call that Todd Downing made all day yesterday, I felt like, was the one where they used A.J. on a jet sweep motion. They kind of fake it to him. Defense starts going with A.J. They pitch it out to Hilliard. He turns it around, stays in bounds, gets the first down, game over. Hilliard had two big running plays, was the best running back on the field yesterday. And so even though I give Tannehill the credit for the win yesterday, Hilliard certainly deserves a game ball. Other than that, I got no defensive game balls. I got no special teams game balls. And I don't have any coaching game balls either. So right now, I got two of them, Tannehill and Hilliard, and that's it. Now, I will give the owner a game ball a little bit later. She deserves a game ball. We'll get into that. But those are my game balls, Tannehill and Hilliard. I thought everybody else. I thought the defense. I was embarrassed by the defense second half yesterday. I was embarrassed. That's embarrassing.
The second half defense was a problem. And I tweeted out after the Titans went up 21-0, after they scored that third touchdown in the first half, I said, dare I say game? And then whenever they slipped in the third quarter, people came for me. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Delete this tweet. I'm sorry. It is not my fault that the Titans gave up 18 unanswered points. It's not my fault that the Titans came back from halftime ready to, board a flight to Cabo.
That was so
because they
embarrassing.
totally kicked their feet up and were just ready to finish off the game in the second half. I mean, that was a black and white, completely different team that came out in the second half. So don't come for me for saying that the Titans game was over when they were up 21-0, because it should have been over. The Titans should have ended the game at the half, just keep the momentum moving forward, and do not give the Texans an opportunity to keep this game close. The fact that Davis Mills and Danny Amendola were able to keep themselves in that game is embarrassing. But we can pick it apart all day. At the end of the day, the Titans are the top seed in the AFC, and their road to the Super Bowl gets significantly easier. The Titans are 2 wins away from making it to the Super Bowl, and that is the most important thing from that game. But those are going to be 2 incredibly difficult games to win. And if you keep a game tight with the Texans, you're going to keep a game tight, way tighter with the Chiefs or with the Patriots, whoever the Titans are going to face in the playoffs. So that Titans second half made me incredibly concerned.
See, this is the one thing that I have a hard time with when it comes to Vrabel. And that is the fact that Vrabel, for no matter what you want to say about him, game planning, I think it's amazing that Todd Downing calls up the stupidest 3rd and 2 play yesterday, the bomb to Julio that didn't work. And I just thought, it's 3rd and freaking 2. Get a sense of the game. It's 3rd and 2. Your defense is leaking oil. You need a first down. You need to take time off the clock. And Todd Downing dials up the bomb, which I thought was so stupid. And Vrabel never gets blamed for that. The entire city hates the offensive coordinator, and Vrabel never gets blamed for that, which I can't do. Like, he's the head coach. He's got the headset on. So when the head coach is saying, he hears the coordinator call up, 29, double gap, double shoot, whatever, like Vrabel's going to be like, well, no. We need a play that's going to get us a first down here. But that's not my issue with Vrabel. You can say whatever you want about game planning and how the defense is turned around and how the team, fought through injuries and what. He struggles when everybody knows that the game is over or that the game should be over or that the Titans should win or that it shouldn't be difficult or that it whatever. He sucks. Like, he cannot get them to get their heads screwed on straight. And I'm going to give you an example of how this can really hurt you in the playoffs. I saw a Super Bowl, 4 years ago, and one team was up 28-3. And when you're up 28-3 in the Super Bowl, you should win the Super Bowl. And everybody knows you should win the Super Bowl. And guess what?
They lost the Super Bowl.
They lost the Super Bowl. And that's exactly what this Titan team does. The difference between the Steeler game and the Texan game, I think, is twofold. One, the Steelers are better than the Texans. Two, your quarterback made a play. Your quarterback made no plays in that Steeler game. And if Ryan Tannehill goes out there, and this is the thing about Tannehill, is that I felt like he really proved yesterday that all this stuff about what had happened to the 2020 Tannehill and what had happened to 2019 Tannehill, and can Tannehill elevate the team to get you a win, he proved to me yesterday that he can do that stuff. That he can win you a ball game, that even when everybody else is stinking it up, he can go out there and make a difference. So if he doesn't do that in the playoffs, then I don't want to hear, he's throwing to Nick Westbrook-Akina, Jared. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Tannehill showed me he can win throwing the ball to Ferkser and Westbrook-Akina and the remains of Julio Jones or whatever that is out there. He can do that. So, I would say this about yesterday's game. And I keep talking about things that matter and things that don't matter. Yesterday's game does not matter. The only thing that truly mattered from yesterday was the result itself. You won, you're the 1 seed. That's good. But I do think that we need to evaluate why the Titans let the Texans back into the game. For a lot of people, you would say, well, obviously you're not very good because you couldn't even close out the Texans. But I think it's deeper than that. And I just think it is that when the Titans feel like they have no shot to win or that nobody believes they can win, they kick it into a gear that makes me think if they get matched up with Green Bay in a Super Bowl, that they could go out there and do something extraordinary. But when the expectation is to win and you feel like you've got it in the bag, they feel like they've got it in the bag, and they don't do things that good teams do. This is why Nick Saban always says, play the play, don't play the score. And the Titans, under Vrabel, play the score way too often, where it's like, blowout, all right, on we go. And again, I do think the one good thing about yesterday's game is that there is now a film that Mike Vrabel can take, and he can sit down with the entire team, and he can be like, look, everyone's going to sit there and talk about you, but you guys want to read your press clippings. Here's what happens if you start doing it. Because that second half, that was the biggest knock on Vrabel that I can even think of right now, is that it feels like with Mike Vrabel, when the Titans feel like they've won, whether it's playing an inferior opponent like the Jets or playing a terrible opponent like the Texans the first time, or whether it is having a horrible half of football against Indianapolis in the first game when Indy had all those injuries and Carson Wentz couldn't move and the Titans should have blown them out and they didn't, or whether it's that second half of fumbleitis against Pittsburgh, or whether it's whatever the hell you want to call that yesterday, if they go out there and get a big lead, I'm going to be scared to death that it's going to be like the Oilers and the Bills in 1993. Because that's what or 1991 or whatever year it was. Because that is the concern for me with this club. Now, the other thing about it is, if you get any team that's not Pittsburgh, you're going to hear a lot of people picking the other team to beat the Titans. There's going to be a lot of people that pick the Raiders to beat the Titans. There's going to be people that pick the Bengals to beat the Titans. There's going to be people that pick the Patriots to beat the Titans. There's going to be people that would pick the Bills or the Chiefs. And that might be good. Because it might be good to, hey, get these guys thinking that they're not too hot. Because if they start thinking they're too hot, they go off into la-la land. I promise to get to your reaction. That's what we'll do next, because it is a Reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. By the way, did yesterday's game change your thoughts on the Titans' Super Bowl chances at all? Just the terribleness of the second half.
Well, I mean, them winning the game makes me feel significantly better about the Titans' chances versus if they lost the game, because I mentioned it earlier, the road gets significantly easier now that they have the first round bye. But seeing how different the team looked in the first half and the second half, the way that they just tailed off in the second half, makes me worried, because your opponents in the playoffs, your opponent in the Super Bowl, is going to be significantly more difficult than the Texans.
Like, what if the Texans had Brandon Cooks yesterday?
I mean, we can play the if, and, and what
that
game
is true.
All day.
That is true. And it's not like they stopped them anyway, so they just would have stopped them the same amount of times, which was 0.
Right.
I do wonder, though, like, does a poor defensive showing in the second half make us a little nervous that, hey, when that's Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Isaiah McKenzie and Cole Beasley and Dawson Knox, and that it may be, and I don't know. We'll leave it up for debate. Let's get to the phones next, though. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We are live at 312 Pizza Company here in Germantown today for Reaction Monday, where, again, we'll be giving away all kinds of great stuff. So we got 3 $50 312 Pizza gift cards for you to win and Dirk's Bentley tickets to give away as well. Stillman and Company, we're delivered by TriStar Moving. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. The college football championship is tonight, and to celebrate, FanDuel Sportsbook, my official sportsbook, is hooking up new customers with 30-1 enhanced odds on either team to win. This means that you can bet $5 to win $150 on either team to win it all. I'm going to go with Alabama, although we'll make our official picks later. I'm just telling you all, I'm not going to bet against Nick Saban, so you guys do whatever you want. Use the promo code JGM to make a deposit to claim your 30-1 enhanced odds. There's no better place to bet the championship than on America's #1 sportsbook and my official sportsbook app, which is FanDuel. It is a simple and easy-to-use app with great new offers every day, and when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 2 hours. Don't miss your chance to win $150 on a $5 bet. That's promo code JGM on the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get 30-1 odds. 21 and older in present Tennessee. New users only, $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users filled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
This is Colton Sissons, and this is Smashville.
Feeds now, Sissons coming on for the left circle, and Colton Sissons puts it in the net.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Cannonballs Covers wants you to join their team of experienced car and boat trimmers. If you want for good pay, atmosphere, and culture, you need to apply to Cannonballs Covers today. Join qualified associates in a great place to learn the craft and grow your career. If you're an experienced trimmer or are looking to elevate your career in trimming, call owner Cannonball White at 615-828-6571. Visit Cannonballs Covers on Facebook or visit their new location at 4010 Clarksville Pike for more information.
Are you interested in starting your own business? Join the Blink Law Entrepreneur Summit on February 2nd for their one-day event to help anyone start a business. Not only will you hear from experienced entrepreneurs from a variety of fields, but all attendees will also get a one-on-one consultation with an attorney who will register your business. You will leave the event with certified documents and an officially registered business. This is a great opportunity for anyone who wants to jumpstart a new business. For more information and to register, go to facebook.com/BlinkLawLLC.
It's a new year and there are new deals just for you at thegamenashville.com/deals. Right now, buy $100 and get $50 free to the Woodhouse Spa Nashville. Also save 75% off at Nashville Armory, the Beanbag Coffee and Tea Shop, and Seafood Sensation. And get $50 free with a $100 purchase in downtown Dollars. Save up to 75% off your favorite places today. It's Nashville's best deals at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at Rotary.org/action.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
2nd and 8. Tannehill. Brown at the 10. Brown 5. Brown. Touchdown. A.J. Brown.
He's our quarterback, and so we won 12 games with him.
Just how much is your belief in him and the team's belief in him going forward?
Well, that's all earned. That's all earned. It's not like talked about. It's viewed, and he's earned their respect. He's earned their trust and the confidence.
There you go. That was Vrabel yesterday. Hey, Tannehill has earned their respect. That was his best game of the season. That was the only game, I will say, where Ryan Tannehill won the Titans the game. He didn't win them San Francisco. AJ won them San Francisco. He didn't win them Seattle. Derek won them Seattle. And I don't think he played well enough in any other game that you would make an argument that Tannehill won them the game. They're going to need that going forward. 615-737-1025. Again, we are live today at 312 Pizza Company. Come watch the National Championship here, kicking off at 7 o'clock tonight. Nashville's Chicago-style pizza in Germantown, 312 Pizza here on Monroe Street. Rick is going to kick us off. Phone lines on Reaction Monday are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Rick.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I've been listening to sports talk all day long today, both local stations. I have not heard one person talk about the release of Jeremy McNichol.
Can I ask you a question, Rick?
I'm sorry?
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Why do you care?
Because I think on those, 3rd and 2s, that was Tannehill's go-to guy. He could turn a 3rd and 2 into a first, and he would have been going for 15, 18 yards.
Who would you rather have on the team, Jeremy McNichols or Dontrell Hilliard?
Both.
Nope.
And I know the running back room is getting
Can't do
full.
it. Can't do it, Rick. Can't do it. Thank you for your call. I'm not going to spend too much time on Jeremy McNichols. The truth is they think that Jordan Wilkins that got a penalty yesterday, they think he's a better special teams player. That's why they think that Hilliard is a better third down back, and they think that the Wilkins guy is better on special teams. That's why McNichols got cut. It wouldn't surprise me to see McNichols brought back to the practice squad, but honestly, I couldn't give two poops about Jeremy McNichols. I think he means so little to the football. I think he had a nice run as a backup, and then I think other backups came in and proved that they were better than him, and I think this is where they're at. I am not shedding any tears over Jeremy McNichols.
I think he'll be okay.
Okay, that's enough Jeremy McNichols talk for
Great.
today. Ralph is up next. Thank you for calling the show. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Ralph.
Hello?
Ralph, go.
Hey, okay, I have a couple things for you today. There's two players on the team that could benefit the teams. That they play in Super Bowl, they explained to the teams that how hard to get there and how hard to win it. And they both lost to New England in two different teams, and that's Julio Jones and Roger Saffold. And the other point is, if you have a team concept, if there's one bad player on the team, he's gonna affect the rest of the teams. And you know who I'm talking about here. The dude, his name Jack Rabbit Jenkins. He's not only bad, and he's not his fault that he's staying on the team. Now it's on the coach.
Yeah, I mean, again, thank you for your call, Ralph. I think you guys are getting too concerned about things that don't matter. I mean, I'm sorry. And this is what I started the show on with today, was there's a difference between things that matter and things that don't matter. And so, everybody yesterday after the game, the Titans almost completely crapped away the number 1 seed in the AFC. They would be having to play the Pittsburgh Steelers On Sunday night, and you know they wouldn't be playing the Steelers on Sunday night. They'd have moved that game. That'd have been like Saturday.
It would have been a noon game,
kickoff.
easy, yeah.
But they would have to be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in a playoff game here, and then would have to host the Buffalo Bills. But they've already lost to the Steelers this year. So they would be having to play that game. They tried everything yesterday. And as soon as the game was over, everybody was like, Vrabel Coach of the Year. And I'm like, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I think that, Bisaccia with the Raiders, they should talk about him a little bit more. We talk about, look at all the injuries Vrabel had to go through. Well, Bisaccia had to lose. They lost the head coach, and then his best wide receiver killed somebody. So it was a little bit difficult over there in Vegas. But again, that doesn't matter. Vrabel told you yesterday and today, that doesn't matter whether or not he wins Coach of the Year. People want to talk about that. When it comes to, we want to talk about Jeremy McNichols. Who cares? Who cares? That doesn't matter. Why the Titans went from up 21 in the first half to winning by 3 in the second half, that matters, because if you get a big lead in the playoffs and you get too comfortable, that's a big deal. I don't care that Roger Saffold played on a Rams team that went to the Super Bowl and lost a couple of years ago, or that Julio Jones lost. Mike Vrabel won 3 of them in New England, and I don't care about that either. It's hard to win in this league. And now you're at the stage where you got to think about, okay, what has to happen for this team to win? And the way the quarterback played in the second half yesterday, that matters. That is a big deal. Can your quarterback go out there and when everything is going against you, can he make a superstar play to help you win a football game?
That's exactly what Tannehill did yesterday.
He did it yesterday. But that's what matters. I don't care about Jeremy McNichols. I mean, who cares? Who cares? With Jack Rabbit Jenkins. Now, Jack Rabbit got suckered in on, I believe it was that halfback or the double pass where they threw it over the head for the touchdown. Mm-hmm. And Jack Rabbit Jenkins is not the only person in the world who put his feet up yesterday. That entire defense. Where was the pass rush? Where was the pass rush yesterday in the second half?
And if we wanted it, we've talked at length over the past few weeks that if the Titans are going to win games, they have to rely heavily on this pass rush. They rely on the pass rush and they rely on the run. That's how the Titans have won several games this season, and that's kind of what felt like their bread and butter.
Well, I don't even care about the secondary. I know people will be like, I was reading through the text line a little bit during the break, and somebody was texting about the secondary or something, and, Vrabel can't play corner, and I'm like, I don't care about the secondary. I do not care. I don't care.
Defensive front.
I don't care if Greg Mabin's out there. I don't care if Jack Rabbit's out there, Fulton's out there, Hooker's out there, Byard's out. I don't care about any of those guys. I don't care about any of them.
Well, I don't not care about any of them.
I don't care about them. Byard last year when he had no pass rush was terrible. Byard this year is going to the Pro Bowl. You think Byard was all of a sudden a bad player last year and a good player this year?
No, I agree with you. That
they
it's
won
the defensive
They won
front
games with
that
Greg
elevates
Mabin
this defense.
starting at corner. So I could not give two poops about the secondary. Now, where the pass rush that was all over Tua last week and was playing pretty well in the first half and where they went in the second half, I don't know. We're back to your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Plus, and I feel like most people are discarding yesterday's game. But there was something yesterday that really bothered me. So I want to get to that coming up next. And it should, and bother may be too strong of a word, concerned. That might be the word that I would go with. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals right now. Buy $100 and get $50 to the Woodhouse Spa Nashville. Save 75% off the Nashville Armory, the Beanbag Coffee and Tea Shop, and Seafood Sensation, and get $50 free with a $100 purchase in downtown dollars. Check out all the best deals at Nashville at theGameNashville.com/deals.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine will continue for us all afternoon. However, it's not going to warm us up very much. Highs will be in the upper 30s and lower 40s, and we'll do it again on Tuesday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today. One of the smartest things you can do for the new year is convert some of your home's equity into cash. You can do it right now with a zero-cost cash-out refi from Loan Pronto. Willie here. Call Loan Pronto now. They can fast-track your home refi and get you a check for 50, 60, 70 grand or more. And if you call now, Loan Pronto can even pay your closing costs. Listen, your home value is way up. Use it to your advantage. Get cash out now. Pay off those credit card debts. Consolidate other debts. Start that home improvement project and get your finances in great shape for 2022. Loan Pronto's refis usually close in just 2 weeks, and the process is easy. It's all digital. Call Loan Pronto now. Put that equity in your home to work towards financial freedom for the new year. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Hey, Darren McFarland here. DraftKings Sportsbook has an unbelievable offer to get all fans in the action for this exciting time on the football calendar. New customers, listen up. You can bet just $5 on any football team to win their game, and when they do, you win $200 in free bets. So let's just wind down the season with a big win. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on football with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that code 1025GAME and bet just $5 on any football team, college or pro, and win $200 in free bets if they are victorious. That code again, 1025GAME. This week at DraftKings Sportsbook, you must be 21 years of age or older. Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
This is Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers. We understand that no one likes to deal with auto body repair and the inconvenience it becomes in your day-to-day life. I want to personally invite you to stop by and let our experienced staff see how we can help you make your vehicle look good as new. Apple Collision Center has 3 convenient locations, Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. Come by and see us or visit us online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexrode.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Well, I mean, I thought we got off to a great start. You know, we traded, some punts, and then we kind of got on a roll and played really complimentary. We got a penalty down the field, scored, but give them credit. Timmy Kelly did a great job in the second half, going to empty. Davis did unbelievable. He was throwing seeds. Amendola found the fountain of youth, and we were struggling defensively. So. Give them a lot of credit, and then we were able to give us credit for battling back.
Give them credit. Give the Texans credit. Give Timmy Kelly credit for how they played. Okay. So I do want this, and then we're right back to your phones. Titans special teams yesterday was awful.
It was awful.
And I just...
The penalties.
I just want to know this from people. You have Bullock missed another field goal.
Uh-huh.
And
Which unfortunately feels like it's developing into a trend.
Here's the thing. You get what you pay for. He sucks. But we all have to sit there. 2 years ago, they had a much worse kicker in Greg Joseph. Mm-hmm. But they just didn't have to kick. And the one kick they had to attempt against Kansas City, he made. But we could have all sat there with our hands, holding it like, hey, this Patriots game comes down to a field goal. Like, he's got to hit it. And luckily, it didn't happen. So we can do that this year and hope that Randy Bullock doesn't have to make a game-winning kick in the playoffs at Nissan Stadium. But, I mean, he's missing from 47 in a dome stadium. Like, this is the NFL. Well, no, he missed from 42 yesterday. He missed from 47 in perfect weather against the Jags like a month ago. Like, dude, you got to make your kicks. You got the Chester Rogers experience back there every time he goes to field the punt, which, I mean, Bud Dupree might have better judgment at Walgreens sometimes than Chester Rogers has. Can I say that?
Sure.
Can I say that?
I don't know if that's allowed, but you said it. It's out there.
Is it bad? Ian, was that bad?
I don't know.
You're so petty.
What?
Every time someone makes a bad decision, well, Bud Dupree at Walgreens.
This is the first time.
But I know it's not the last. I know it's not the last.
But, I mean, Chester Rogers
but
yesterday.
You make a fair point.
I mean, goodness gracious. And so, here's what happens. It doesn't kill you because you won.
Yes.
If they had lost, we'd be sitting here talking about how Randy Bullock missed another kick and that he's missing too many kicks and that but because they won, it doesn't matter. But I'm like,
but does it not matter because they won?
Are you comfortable with him going into the playoffs, clanking the ball off the uprights at New England, missing a 47-yarder in perfect weather at Jacksonville, missing from 42 yesterday? No, I'm not. I'm not okay with that.
And that's why I say, is it okay since the Titans won that we can't get on him for missing a field goal? Because, it could have been closer. It could have come down to a field goal. It was the difference of a field goal for a while in the fourth quarter.
It was a field goal game.
The playoffs could be very much so the difference between a field goal and not a field goal. How did the Saints lose? They missed their extra points.
Extra points.
It sounds silly to get on the kicker after the Titans just secured the number 1 seed in the AFC and they have a first-round bye in the playoffs because that's all very important and very, very good.
Oh, he sucks.
But games come down to field goals.
Al Del Greco missed 4 in a playoff game. You lost being the number 1 seed against Baltimore in 2000.
The Chargers missed the playoffs because the Raiders made a field goal.
No, the Chargers missed the playoffs because their coach is an idiot.
Yes, but also.
That's the bigger thing. Let's go back to the phone, 615-737-1025. But I do hear you on that one. What do we have in the text line?
One texter texts into the text line and says 2 things. First of all, the Titans played as if the 21-point mercy rule was in effect. Second of all, Tannehill didn't play great, but he had great moments. He threw what could have been 2 to 3 picks, one of which should have been a pick and would have taken away 7 points. Tannehill still throws scared.
So I do think this. I think a lot of times quarterbacks throw what could have been interceptions. And I'm not taking up for Tannehill here. If there's anybody, Tannehill had 2 plays yesterday that, honestly could have cost you the game. He had one that was almost intercepted. I think it was in and out of the hands of a Texan defender. And then he had the fumble, which he fumbles the ball way too much for my liking. And luckily, the ball bounced right to Hilliard, and Hilliard fell on it. But, look, if you're going to scramble, you got to know they're probably coming from behind. And so that was bad. At the same time, I feel like most quarterbacks probably have, a lot of that could have been intercepted but wasn't kind of moments, as long as their name's not Aaron Rodgers. And I think we're just going to have to live with that with Tannehill, that he's going to throw some balls that might get picked, and you have to hope they don't get picked in the playoffs. The question is when the game is – because one interception, unless it's just at the most, just inopportune time, one interception is probably not going to kill you in the playoffs, or it definitely can not kill you. Mm-hmm. But, 3 will. And that's where I look at Tannehill, and I'm like, I didn't feel like yesterday the decision-making was terrible. What's next?
Xavier texts into the text line and says, Jared will probably disagree with me, but I feel like Julio Jones making an impact is just as important to the offense, clicking on all cylinders as Tannehill. I feel like he opened up more spots for the other receivers, which allowed Tannehill to spread the ball around. Tannehill is not a tight window quarterback. He needs open receivers.
Yeah, we got a whole 30-minute block today dedicated to the Julio conspiracy, the idea that, now he's back. So we'll get to that. Julio, yes. Whatever. But I didn't look at yesterday's game as like a referendum that Julio's here and that now all is good.
I wasn't not pleased from what I saw from Julio yesterday. I thought he had a good game. He had a
50
touchdown.
yards.
Had a good game. It was solid. Now, do I expect Julio to score every single game? No. And I think the fact that people are saying, look at Julio now, and he had 53 yards. It's great. He had a touchdown. He scored for the Titans. I'm not counting that against Julio Jones, but I'm also not going to say, wow, he scored yesterday, so cash in that $15 million check, Julio, because you earned it.
Say it.
I'm not there yet.
See, Julio caught 2 balls early, and Joe Retro put up some tweet that was like, now can we do the little eye emoji? And I just said no. And he was like, I don't want to hear from somebody who would say that Khalif Raymond could do that. So I'm minding my own business at halftime. And I'm watching the CBS halftime show.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, James Brown's like, and in Detroit, where Green Bay is playing, everything's all locked up. Khalif Raymond goes 75 yards for the touchdown. And I'm like, See?
I did see that at the halftime show, and I instantly thought of you.
See?
Thought you were probably doing cartwheels around your living room.
No. Here's what happened to me yesterday. I was flipping between the Titans game and the Colts game. And then once it was 21-0, I thought the game was over. So I fully invested myself to watching the second half of the Colts. And the second half of the Colts was as enjoyable of a game as you could have had as a Titan fan.
Maybe if your name's not Indy Ben.
It was just outstanding. And I couldn't enjoy it because the Titans went and just put their thumbs up their rear ends in the second half. It's awful. Eric is up next. Thank you for calling the show. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Hey, Jared, I want to talk about the Titans' inability to put teams away. What you said about Vrabel,
sure.
And I've been betting on the Titans games for about 20 years, and I think it's more than just a Vrabel thing. I think it's a Titans thing because if you look, the Titans, whenever they're favorites, they have a hard time covering spreads. And when I saw that 10-point spread Sunday, I jumped on Houston real quick. But also, two things before I get off. This is my prediction. If the Titans have 0 turnovers in the next 2 games, they will go to the Super Bowl. That's my
Eric,
prediction.
I want to stop. I want to stop right there. I think that was such a good point. I don't want to hear the second one because I want to talk about the first one. Thank you for your call. Why did the Titans win yesterday? They didn't turn the ball over.
They didn't turn the ball over.
They didn't turn the ball over. I mean, the Titans did everything wrong. They missed a kick. They couldn't field a punt. They couldn't connect on the deep passes. They couldn't stop anybody in the second half. They didn't get any pressure on the quarterback in the second. They didn't do anything. Why'd they win? They didn't turn the ball over.
And, I mean, Houston had all of the momentum in the second half. That if the Titans would have handed them the ball, I have a very good feeling that the Texans would have scored.
If Tannehill, instead of making that miraculous play where he threw it to Westbrook-Akina, if he fumbles the snap like the Pittsburgh game, you lose. Like, I think it's that simple.
Probably so.
I mean, if that had happened, oh, my goodness gracious.
I mean, the Texans scored on every single one of their possessions in the second half.
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
So what's stopping them from doing that again if you hand them the ball?
So I want to get back to your phones. I want to get to this, though, which is a question for the fans. And so I say go ahead and take the calls and the text now. Just go ahead and send them in, 615-737-1025. Do you care about how poorly the Titans played? Or are we just looking at it as, hey, they had to win to get the one, they got the win, throw it away, move on? Is that how you feel? 615-737-1025. Reaction Mondays powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. We're live from 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. It's Stillman and Company on ESPN 1025 The Game.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen.
There's so much to pay attention to. Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Hahn from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Well, don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Willie Donick here. It's time to call the folks at QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative, restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them give you the steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is the only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics and do it now. And imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and paid time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
The 102.5 The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the game at 615-737-1025.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, naturally caffeinated water with a spark. Drink Focus, PHOCUS.com. We are live at 312 Pizza Company. Titans are the number 1 seed. 312 Pizza Company is the best pizza spot to watch the big game. So come on down to 312 Pizza Company at 371 Monroe Street and hang out with 102.5 The Game and stick around for the championship game tonight. 312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. They specialize in deep dish pizza, thin crust, and all things Chicago style. Plus, it's the perfect spot to catch the championship game tonight. So I asked this question to the text line, which I see already kind of blowing up a little bit. And I asked this question, phones, whatever, you name it. Do Titan fans care how nippy it got yesterday? Like, do they care? Like, before we get to the reaction, just kind of our thoughts in general. I mean, I do, but I kind of don't, right? Like, I want to know the cause and effect of certain things. So I want to know why the Titans, like the Steelers game, like the first Colts game, why the Titans just thought they could go in and just, stick their feet right there up on the coffee table. If you're looking at the stream, I literally just put my shoes up on the table. Why they thought they could just put their feet up there in the second half. I mean, they were out to lunch. And I wonder why, they thought that was okay. Like, I know I said at halftime that the game was over, but that was because I was anticipating that the Titans weren't going to take the second half off. That they weren't, it's like Thanksgiving week, right? Like, people go to work on Monday, then midway through the day, Tuesday, they just stop working. They might show up on Wednesday. They're not showing up on Thursday. They're not coming back on Friday. And so good luck seeing them until Christmas. And that's what the Titans did in the second half yesterday. They might as well have pulled the starters yesterday. It was so bad in the second half. The play calling was bad in the second half. They got no pass rush in the second half. So I want to know why. Because if this has happened, there's 4 months in a football season. If this has happened in 3 of those 4 months, where we can look at it and say, boy, they really took that half off. That first Texan game, they took that game off. Out to lunch. I'd like to know why that is happening. But as far as Danny Amendola laced the Titans for however many yards yesterday.
Over 100.
1 million. I'm not sure I really care about that because I'm not sure it really matters. I'm not sure that Because Danny Amendola did that. Like, it'd be easy if you were like a doom and gloomer. It'd be easy to say, well, Danny Amendola did it. What's Jamar Chase going to do if that's the first playoff? That would be very easy to do. I'm not doing that. Because like you beat the Chiefs, and so.
And if there's anything we've learned about the Titans, they show up for big games.
Yeah, when the Titans show up, they play hard, and when they play hard, they're capable of beating anybody. But I just want to know kind of what the cause and effect is there. But as far as like the shaming the Titans for almost losing against such a sorry, sad sack of you-know-what team, I'm not sure I do care. I think everybody would expect me to like go bonkers over it.
It kind of sounds like you do care.
I mean...
Why do you say that you don't?
Because I guess I have a problem with like the... I have a problem like with the fickleness of had Tannehill not made that great throw to Westbrook-Akina and they score that touchdown drive.
If he hadn't Houdini'd himself out of a sack.
Yeah, like the Titans probably lose yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Titans lose, like that would have. And it's not like people think I want to do that, and I really don't. Like, I'm a fan, so I root for them to win. But at the same time, like, I mean, it was like one great play that you can't expect him to make every game. But then again, a lot of plays are decided by one play here or there. And then somebody texted me, and I agree with this sentiment. I mean, we talked about how I told you that it was like very binary with Vrabel. Mm-hmm. That if they lost this game, I was going to say, screw that guy and win the game, coach of the year. And I was totally fine on Friday with being incredibly binary there. This is a binary result. Somebody texted me, and they said, in the NFL, it's hard to win. Call the Colts, who lost to the Jags. Mm-hmm. Call the Patriots, who lost to the Dolphins. Call the Ravens, who lost to the Steelers. Call Arizona, who lost to Seattle. Call the Rams, who lost to San Francisco and blew a 17-0 lead.
Yeah.
Call Kansas City, who didn't play very well against Denver. And I'll say that. I watched that game. I was texting Chris Sanders.
It wasn't cute.
I was texting Chris Sanders Saturday night. And I was like, we were texting back and forth. I'm like, I'm watching Kansas City, and I'm watching, like, how Denver's running the ball on them. And I'm like, well, if that's Derrick Henry back there, and that's the Titan offensive line, they're going to be pushing Kansas City way back. Or like this explosive Kansas City offense going 3 and out. And I'm like, well, if that's Bud Dupree and those guys and they're getting to Mahomes, like I watched Kansas City Saturday and I was like, and then of course, Melvin Gordon fumbles the ball and Drew Lock doesn't tackle the guy. And now Kansas City wins by the skin of their teeth. But I mean, are we going to take every game and say, well, what about this game? What about that game? What about this game? What about that game? Whereas that's just like, that's how the league is.
I mean, it's the same thought process of looking at it, well, if Danny Amendola could do it against the Titans, then Jamar Chase definitely could. It's the same way of looking at the Chiefs game of like, okay, well, if that's Bud Dupree and if that's the Titans secondary, then we feel totally good about that. But, I mean, it really is any given Sunday. I mean, you can show up one game and just be absolutely, completely lights out. You can show up the next, and then you lose to the Jags.
And see, that's the thing is the Titans could win the Super Bowl this year. The Titans could lose to the Steelers in the first round of the playoffs. But that goes back to yesterday's game. None of that matters about yesterday's game.
No.
None of that matters going forward. So should we spend 4 hours, which we normally do on a Titan Monday, should we spend 4 hours harping on the game when I know everybody out there wants to talk about the playoffs? Like, I know everybody wants to talk about the playoffs. I mean, and trust me, we are going to talk about the playoffs for the next 2 weeks. I mean, we will be talking about the playoffs.
We'll do our due diligence.
But I don't.
But, I mean, to go back to your initial question.
I don't know.
Do Titans fans really care about the way that the Titans played in the second half of yesterday? Based off of the response in the text line, they say, we do not care.
They do not care.
They do not care.
They do not care. Give me some of them. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have?
Sean says, I do not care. Postseason is the epitome of going 1-0 every week. The only thing that matters at this point is winning the next game. Don't care. Don't care if results already. Just win the next one.
Ian, what do you think the GM would have said? Now, we know the GM, every time they won, if we complained about the win. See, it was more so our reaction than it was kind of the way the GM felt about it.
Mm-hmm.
So he would react based upon how we would react. So it's really a reaction of the reaction, not a reaction of how he felt about the game. But, like, if I came in today and said, they almost lost to that terrible Texan team and they almost blew a 3-score lead and, oh, my God, it's this and that, he would have been like, now, in the NFL, a win is a win. And you've never won anything in the NFL, so you don't know. And it's harder than anything you've ever done. So you don't know what you're talking about because it's hard to win these games. Ha, ha, ha. But I do wonder, Ian, how he would have felt about yesterday's game.
Oh, he would have been excited about the win. A 1 seed?
Would he have been excited about the win?
Because they won. Yes.
I've
that's
been
all
like,
that matters.
I want
yes.
to ignore everything that happened yesterday.
As far as what happened in the game?
Yes.
I mean, it's a division game. They're all going to be – a lot of these division games are close. They're purposely putting the last game of the season for all division games for just this reason. I mean, you go around the league, this is what it is. You know, Jacksonville beat Indy. I mean, that's the reason they have these games. Houston games are always close. It doesn't matter who it is. It's a division game.
Houston,
and so that's the way they wanted it to be.
The last 4 Houston games, Houston has sucked. And every single one of them has gone down to the wire or they beat the Titans. Like, every single one of them. They won in overtime. You know, the first game in 2020, they went to overtime. Titans won that. They won by 3 at the buzzer to clinch the South last year. They won by 3 yesterday, and they got spanked on Floyd Day in November.
Oh, that was so bad.
That was so what a dishonorment to Floyd for the way that they played that game. Now they can do that on Jeff Fisher Day all they want, but doing that on Floyd Day is a whole different story. I do think though, like I guess I don't care. Like I do. I mean. Here's the thing, right? In 2000, the Titans won that last game of the year. It was the same situation. Win, and you're the 1 seed. And the subtext, like the secondary option was so much worse because you would have a wild card. And so win, number 1 seed. Lose, wild card. And they beat the Cowboys, who were terrible like this Texan team. Mm-hmm. They beat the Cowboys 31-0. They got beat in the first round or in the divisional round of the playoffs. So did it matter that they won 31-0 on Monday Night Football against Dallas? I don't think so. And so does it matter that they won by 3 points against the Texans yesterday? I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think that these two things are mutually exclusive. I think that you can be really excited and relieved and happy that the Titans won that game yesterday. And by any means necessary, we got the 1 seed and that's over and done with. But I think you can also at the same time be a little bit concerned about what you saw from the Titans in the second half. Be glad they won. Now on to the playoffs, but we have a few concerns based off of what we've seen.
Oh, Vrabel's got some tape now.
I think that's fair.
Vrabel's got some tape now to work with those guys and be like, hey, you guys totally screwed this up, this up, this up, this up, and this up. So, there is that. Vrabel asked about Coach of the Year. What he had to say, we'll get to that. And I think every Titan fan is going to lose their marbles if Mike Vrabel is not the Coach of the Year. So I've got just one Coach of the Year thought. Then we're to your phones on this. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We again are live today at 312 Pizza Company in Germantown on Monroe Street. They've got $3 $50 312 Pizza Company gift cards to give away via Enter to Win, along with Dirk's Bentley tickets. You must be on site. So come watch the national championship game in order to win those Dirk's Bentley tickets here at 312 Pizza Company. 312 Pizza Company happy hour is from 2 to 6, where you get 2-for-1 draft beers all happy hour long. That means 2-for-1 draft beers during the entire Stillman & Company show today. Stop by 312 Pizza Company for Nashville's best sports talk, and 2-for-1 drafts leading to the big game tonight at 7 o'clock. Stillman & Company, we're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. It's ESPN 105 the game.
Guys on threes, 1, 2, 3.
A.J. Brown. Touchdown. First down, and that should do it.
The Titans are the number 1 seed in the AFC.
A hell of a job. Came up with some huge plays.
Heading into the playoffs after beating the Texans 28-25 in Houston.
We found a way to make plays, and that's why I'm proud of our guys.
With home field throughout the playoffs, who will the Titans face in the divisional round?
If everything holds, it's going to be the winner of Bengals-Raiders.
Keep it locked for the best Titans talk.
It's going to be a heck of a ride here.
On ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Fed up with companies selling your data? DuckDuckGo is on it. They help millions of people like you take back their privacy online. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. With Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, get a unit that lasts with their 10-year parts and labor warranty. Get ahead of the game now and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no-interest financing and 10 years parts and labor warranty on all new units. Restrictions apply and not available on all equipment. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Hey, Darren McFarland here. DraftKings Sportsbook has an unbelievable offer to get all fans in the action for this exciting time on the football calendar. New customers, listen up. You can bet just $5 on any football team to win their game, and when they do, you win $200 in free bets. So let's just wind down the season with a big win. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on football with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that code 1025GAME and bet just $5 on any football team, college or pro, and win $200 in free bets if they are victorious. That code again, 1025GAME. This week at DraftKings Sportsbook, you must be 21 years of age or older. Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Jackson Hewitt needs you to know 3 things about filing taxes this year. 1, there are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits on the table. 2, you have to file for them to make sure you get the right amount. 3, a Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help track down every credit you deserve. Tax credits for being a parent, taking care of a parent, going to school, and so much more. You don't want to miss out on thousands. Jackson Hewitt knows that. Discover thousands in tax credits and get your biggest refund guaranteed. Learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Hey, Mike, plenty of talk around everywhere, really, about you being up for NFL Coach of the Year. How do you feel about that? What are your thoughts?
The same thoughts I had last night, Chris, that may be interesting, but it's not important, and we have to focus on things that are important, and that's trying to play better and prepare. Just because any mistakes are just magnified in the playoffs against good teams, just the magnitude. There's not going to be an opportunity to have the game that we had against Pittsburgh, where you do a lot of good things, but you turn football over, and if you lose a game like that, your season's over.
I did laugh out loud. I knew Vrabel had already answered the question yesterday about Coach of the Year. And Mike Vrabel, the last person who's ever going to campaign for an award for themselves
100%.
is Mike Vrabel. Titan fans want to talk about Vrabel being Coach of the Year. That is something they want to talk about. If I had a T-shirt shop right now, I'd be selling a Mike Vrabel Coach of the Year shirt, because the first person to get a shirt out there to sell it's going to make a lot of money. Because Titan fans, and I don't totally understand it, but more power to you, Titan fans are obsessed with the idea of Vrabel winning Coach of the Year.
Did you see all the signs yesterday at the game?
I did see that one that was in the end zone.
There was one in the end zone, and then I saw so many others throughout the game of, Vrabel Coach of the Year, Vrabel #1 coach in the NFL. A lot of campaigners in Houston yesterday.
And I never remember as a kid caring about Jeff Fisher being Coach of the Year. I never looked at it as Jeff Fisher should be Coach of the Year here, and I was going to make a big deal about it. So I don't know.
It's a wonderful accolade, and it's a wonderful thing to put in the trophy case. But at the end of the day, there's one trophy that matters.
So I heard Jimmy Johnson today talking about that, and Jimmy Johnson was talking about Cooper Kupp's catch record or whatever. He's Jimmy Johnson's I don't care about any of that. I mean, if we had decided to throw the ball on every play with Troy Aikman, Troy would have had all kinds of records. But we didn't, because we wanted to run the ball, and all that matters is that Troy won a lot of games. That's what matters. I was like, okay, Jimmy, right on. I will say this. I do think Vrabel's going to win the award. I think it's fine for Vrabel to win the award. I have no qualms with it. Obviously, Titan fans don't care about yesterday's game at all. If you did, I think there would be at least a little bit of a concern. Hey, how did Vrabel let that team right into the game with them, given the way everything had played? But I know Titan fans don't want to talk about that. I know. And look, I'm sure there is pom-pom waving radio today that's Mike Vrabel should be coach of the year. Or it's
Mike
a
Vrabel should be
flood
mayor
season.
of Nashville.
Can I just make one comment before we get to the phones about this?
Sure.
Does Bisaccia in Vegas not deserve any credit? I mean, let's think about the Raiders here for a second. They lose their head coach to a scandal that was like a decade old. So, like, now Bisaccia inherits a locker room where he's got a majority of the players who are African-American.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the only openly gay player in the NFL on his team. And in the middle of a work week, he inherits the fact that his coach that was ahead of him, the guy that he was there with, who was their coach, might be a little bit of a racist and might be homophobic and might be sexist. And if there's any kind of other Gruden might be.
He at least showed those things in emails.
So Bisaccia has to deal with this, right? That's number one.
Yep.
Number two, they had a wide receiver they drafted in the first round who killed somebody and was released and is in jail, and so he had to deal with that, right?
Yes, and I don't mean to laugh, but it is almost comical at this point.
I mean, we're sitting here like, Mike Vrabel had to find a way to beat the Texans and the Jags and whoever else without Derrick Henry. And he had his wide receiver get arrested for vehicular murder. They're not really the same. And again, I'm not saying Bisaccia should win the award over Vrabel. I'm just saying, can we think about Bisaccia?
It's fair to give him a nod.
Then they get better at the end of the year when nobody's thinking about him with an average quarterback in Derek Carr, a guy who I feel like every year there are questions about, is Carr good enough? Are they going to get rid of Carr? Should they get rid of Carr? All the while, the entire time he's interim coach, and they're on television, Ian Rappaport, Bisaccia is not getting this job. They want to talk to this guy. They want to talk to that guy. They want Jim Harbaugh. They want that guy. And, all the while, I have never seen Rich Bisaccia put his hand up this year and want anybody to pay attention to him. I have not seen one bad thing from the Raiders off the field, the Ruggs thing, obviously, but
since taking over.
Yeah, just I've seen no bull crap from the Raiders, which that is a bull crap organization.
Yeah.
And I've seen none of that. They got hot at the end of the year. They won all these games. And yesterday, if there was ever an example of the difference between a stupid coach and a not stupid coach, it was that game yesterday. Because Bisaccia was telling you after the game, I was thinking about
I was
playing
ready
for the
to tie.
We legitimately were talking about on the sidelines of playing for the tie. And, freaking calculator boy on the other side is like, if I go for it on 4th and 2 from my own 19, I might, raise my chances of winning by 3%. So I go for it. And it's like, that guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, that timeout single-handedly cost the Chargers the game.
I do not believe in firing my coach after 1 year. I don't believe. Because, if you cared about your coach enough to hire him, how could 1 year you fire him? This might be the exception. Where, I've seen enough of your stupidness during the game.
The bad decision making.
That I'm just going to fire you. Because you're just so incompetent. But all I'm saying, I think Zach Taylor should get consideration. I think Vrabel should get consideration. And I definitely think Bisaccia should get some consideration. And I think it's okay to say that these other people should get consideration and that while Vrabel probably will win the award, and I don't really care if he does, but if he does, fine. But can we at least address the fact that there are some other coaches that have done some pretty crazy things?
Well, did you see yesterday during the game, they were talking about 4 different coaches that were contenders for Coach of the Year. And the 3 coaches that we've heard a lot of over the last couple of weeks, Zach Taylor, Mike Vrabel, and Matt LaFleur. Did you see who the 4th one was? Because if you didn't, you're about to blow your freaking gasket.
Frank Reich.
Sean McVay.
Oh, I did see that. I was like, what?
Every year he's in contention for Coach of the Year, even though he has Matthew Stafford and some of the best, the best wide receiver core probably in the NFL. They got Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, Odell Beckham Jr., Van Jefferson. You want to name him Coach of the Year?
It's so funny.
Doogie Howser of football, Sean McVay.
It's like Floyd, could do this because he coached and he was the GM for 35 years. So even though he was in the media, no one really thought he was in the media because he never acted like he was in the media. And he had such disdain for the media. I've never worked with somebody, I got to be honest with you, I think Floyd disliked the media more than Donald Trump dislikes the media.
Which is also funny because Floyd became the media.
Right, Floyd worked in the media. And he knew he was working in the media, but he hated the media. Sean McVay for Coach of the Year.
Sean
That's
McVay.
ridiculous. Let's get to your phone. 615-737-1025. We started the hour asking, do any Titan fans care at all whatsoever that the Titans played like crap in the second half? It sounds like the answer is a resounding no.
A resounding we do not care.
I mean, hey, what do we have in there?
Daryl texts in and says, it doesn't matter whether I, as a fan, am concerned about the defense in the second half. It matters that the Titans players and coaches care. To win in the playoffs, you have to play 60 minutes of intense defense and never play prevent defense.
Oh, my God. The prevent defense yesterday. Oh, my goodness. So my dad for years has called the prevent defense the allow.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's probably apropos. There is nothing about the prevent defense I like. I do not understand. The only time I'm okay with the prevent defense is when you're up by 17 with a minute to go. And at this point, you just don't want to get anybody hurt.
But what we've learned is being up 17 or 21 is not a comfortable lead.
No, but
at least not in the first half.
Right, I'm talking about with 3.5 to go, right. And the other team I'm taking my starters out too at the same time. They were in the prevent for the whole second half. And at some point, can I ask this question without Titan fans who are all worked up about? The Titan fans who are all worked up about, we don't care about that was a close game. Can I just ask him this one question? At some point, are you going to guard Danny Amendola?
I mean, after his first touchdown, maybe you want to think, hey, let's guard this guy.
After he just runs behind everybody for a touchdown? What was that? What else we got?
Ron texts into the text line and says, look, the Titans are known for playing up or down to their competition, so I'm not too worried about how they will play in the second round of the playoffs. Because like you said, the competition is going to be a whole lot better than we've seen throughout the regular season. So why not have faith that they will play up to the competition, especially with the world against them?
I'm not saying that they won't play up to the competition. I think it's totally valid. I think that's...
We've seen that this season.
I think
you lose to the Jets and then you beat the Chiefs and the Bills and the Colts and the Rams.
I think the Titans can beat any of these teams in the AFC because I don't think any of these teams in the AFC are really all that good. Now, I think any of these teams in the AFC can also beat the Titans. Mm-hmm. So, before I get too worked up about it one way or another, I mean, I do think they can beat. I think they can beat the Chiefs. I think they can beat the Bills. I think they can beat them all. I do think this, though, and I do think that this is something that, I don't think they can beat Green Bay. I do not think that they could beat the Packers. And the Bucs have had a lot of injuries, but I think it would be hard for them to beat the Bucs. That being said, if they were to play Green Bay in the Super Bowl, I could see between Aaron's propensity to choke in big games and the Titans' ability to get motivated when no one's giving them a chance. If we're in Los Angeles and every guest that we have on that week at the Super Bowl is yeah, I tell you what, Terry Bradshaw joined. I'll tell you, I think right now Vrabel's done a great job. I think they've got a good team. But no, I mean, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. I just don't see the Titans doing it. Okay. And every guest that week is like that. Mm-hmm. I see the Titans going out there and winning. Just because that's what the Titans do. So the idea, could they be more focused in the playoffs? Sure. Here's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about getting a 21-6 lead on New England. And then all of a sudden, Mac Jones turns into Johnny Unitas. And that sounds crazy, but Davis Mills just looked like Dan Marino yesterday, so I'm not here to judge. That's what I'm worried about.
It's a fair concern because while we have seen the Titans several times this season play up against their opponents, which would make you feel good about the Titans in the playoffs, just mentioned them, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Colts, the Rams, that stretch. We saw that the Titans very much so could play up against teams that we didn't think they could play against, they could compete against. But what we've also seen as a trend is turning the ball over and losing games in the second half that they really shouldn't lose.
Oh, if they turn the ball over, they'll lose to anybody.
Going up big in the first half, going up 21-0, and then all of a sudden giving up 2 touchdowns to Danny Amendola.
I like Danny Amendola.
Why?
I think the Titans could definitely use a player like that. Like a slot receiver who gets open and catches the ball and has some experience.
Danny Amendola.
Yeah, sure. Why not? 615-737-1025. I want to talk about the Colts. We're going to talk about the Colts because I watched the Colts game. I know everybody else is sitting out there you saw the highlights tonight or I saw the Colts game. And we got to talk about what has been a 6-month discussion on this show. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. And I'm not sure I've ever been more right about anything in my life than I was the 2021 Indianapolis Colts. So we will get to that coming up. When the Preds have a weekday game this season, it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Your chance to participate tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. I also wonder if the Preds ever plan on losing another game this season. That might be, worth discussing as well. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tuesday night. Roman Yossi and the Predators return home to Smashville to take on Nathan McKinnon and the Colorado Avalanche. Pre-game at 6, face-off at 7 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
My crusade for the perfect pizza crust has led me here, pining over a backyard wood-fired oven. But how do I bake this build into my budget? Where can I get some solid guidance on my finances? Who can help me understand if I have the dough for this?
A little financial advice. At Regions, we know that's important because your Life Green checking account comes with Greenprint. Financial planning with a banker who will help you create a personal budget and live in the moment. Make your appointment at regions.com/greenprint. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Parman is now hiring and seeking qualified candidates for construction equipment truck drivers, service technicians, and more. Apply at parmantractor.com or call 615-865-7800. Come be an employee owner with the Parman team, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Yo, this is Josh from Music Vintage. We're here to provide you with all your vintage apparel needs. Tons of great shoes and memorabilia from your past. We're located in the heart of East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, where we do buy, sell, and trade. Got some clothes your stepdad gave you in the 90s? Found some dope clothes in your granddad's closet? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Found some at a thrift store and don't know where to sell it? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Got some new Jordans that don't quite fit well? Bring it by and we'll give you a cash offer. Music Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage and shoe needs. See y'all soon, Nashville.
Who brought the sauce?
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
I am the sauce.
Who brought the sauce?
Spilled the sauce? Quick, the Quicker Picker-Upper. Bounty picks up spills and messes quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand.
Who brought the sauce?
I brought the sauce.
Who made the sauce?
I made the sauce.
What's in the sauce?
I am the sauce.
Who brought the sauce? Okay.
Bounty, the Quicker Picker-Upper.
Today, join Stillman and Company live from 2 to 6 at 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
Hey, Alabama's got some serious competition.
As they get you set for the national championship between Alabama and Georgia.
2 quarterbacks that are probably at the top of college football.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025, The Game.
Action Monday is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus Naturally Caffeinated Sparkling Water with a Spark. DrinkFocus.com. We're live at 312 Pizza Company in Germantown for the National Championship game tonight. We'll be giving away some Eagles tickets later today in the show, apparently, as well. So I have got to get to the Colts. Now, I want to say this. This was what happened to me. This is going to be a little bit of a story here, if everybody's okay with that. So yesterday, I'm watching the Titans game, and I'm flipping between that and the Colts game. And I keep seeing, like Jacksonville's up, and Jacksonville's moving the ball, and Jacksonville's. And so every time the Titans went to commercial, I'd flip over, and I'd watch a little bit of the Colts. And right about halftime was when I was like, Jacksonville might win this game. And so then the second half, I'm like, Titans are up 21-0. Colts look like they're going to blow it. I'm going to tune into the Colts game. So I had the Titans game. The Titans game became secondary to me to the Colts game. The Colts game became way more of a focus. And I watched Carson Wentz play some of the worst football I have ever seen. Fumbling, throwing interceptions on back-to-back possessions. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was embarrassed for the Colts. And yet, all I could think about yesterday was two different things. One was the first day that I ever met Caroline. And two was the national media and the local media in Nashville that has been on their knees when discussing the Indianapolis Colts. So the day that I met Caroline, I was minding my own business, working out at my house, when it came across that the Indianapolis Colts were trading for Carson Wentz. Now, forget about the fact that the Colts were so embarrassed by what they paid for that they essentially gaslighted what they actually gave up. Remember, it was a conditional second and a third for Wentz? Mm-hmm. Really, it was a first and a third for Wentz. And to the people, that's totally different sounding than the reality. It's like the explanation of what restructuring Ryan Tannehill's contract compared to what extending Ryan Tannehill's contract is. And so they really gave up a first and a third for Wentz, which was crazy. You know, the Eagles, by the way, they have like a $33 million cap hit this year from Wentz, and the Colts have a $21 million cap hit from Wentz. Unbelievable.
Gosh.
So I'm working out, minding my own business, and I make a little emergency video because I was so happy that the Indianapolis Colts had traded for Carson Wentz, because as a Titan fan, this was the moment that I knew I was never going to have to worry about Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning or somebody like that coming to the Colts again. You see, had they gone without a quarterback, had they had old man Rivers in there and he retired, and they decided, you know what, let's give it another try with Jacoby Brissett because we can't find anybody better, and they were terrible this past year, they might have gotten a good draft pick, and they might have been able to draft a quarterback. I don't know. Maybe one of these guys in the draft, Trey Lance or Mac Jones, or maybe one of these guys was like Patrick Mahomes, who, he was like, we knew he was a first-round guy. We didn't know, like, who he was, and then all of a sudden he's the best quarterback in the league. And maybe Indy pulls a rabbit out of their rear end that way. Like, maybe they trade for Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson. All those things were on the table because Indy didn't have a quarterback. Now they got Wentz, and they're paying Wentz all this money, and I was like, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I had to listen to all of y'all's texts and calls about what if it's like 2017 under Reich in Philadelphia. I'm like, nah. And the local media here, they were like, Wentz, he could turn back into 2017 Wentz. I'm like,
no.
So then this year happens. And the national media, I mean, every week it was like some new story, some new ranking about how Reich and Ballard are just the best coach and best general manager in the league. And I'm like, what the hell have they done? Like, what have they done? They made the playoffs once with Andrew Luck. They made them once without Andrew Luck. Okay. Like, Mike Mularkey made the playoffs with Marcus Mariota and won a playoff game and got fired. So I don't understand how this is like what makes Frank Reich just the best coach in the world. And then I'm like, the more I saw it, the more I'm like, what's he done? And I realized that the Colts, this is what it is. Reich and Ballard are just complete kiss asses. That's what it is. So they just kiss everybody's ass all the time. Whereas Vrabel, like, he doesn't care about that. Mm-hmm. Like, Vrabel doesn't. He's not going to try, whatever.
He's not going to be cute in press conferences for the sake of being cute.
No. But Reich and those guys, they play for the camera. So, and this was like did it not feel like this summer every week there was like a new thing we were discussing? Like, Colin Cowherd today says that Carson Wentz is going to win the Super Bowl in Indianapolis, something like
Carson Wentz MVP.
Oh, God. It was just wild. It was just wild. I'm like, this guy, Carson Wentz, sucked. Like, and if there was any question of how bad he sucked, the team that he left that tried to keep him, they fired the coach because he didn't like the coach anymore. So they fired the coach. They went and got a coach to come in here to be his coach. And he still didn't want to be there. And they're in the playoffs with Jalen Hurts, whom I love, but might be a Canadian League quarterback. And they're in the playoffs with Jalen. And Indianapolis is out. And all year, the Indy starts off terribly. And I was like, yeah, I figured that Indy wasn't really all that good and, whatever. And the Titans played them in that second game. And I told you, if the Titans win this game, I'm done with Indy. And I'm worrying about the Chiefs and the Bills, and I'm not worried about Indy anymore. And everybody was like, what about Indy? What about Indy? Indy won some games because Jonathan Taylor can run the ball. Now, he's a beast. Indy won some games running the ball. And everybody, when the Titans lost to the Steelers, it was like, what about the division, Jared? You're not worried about the Colts now? No, I'm not worried about the Colts because they got that bum playing quarterback. And he is a bum. And nobody would say that he's a bum. And so then finally push came to shove, and he totally bummed out on everybody. And they're stuck with him for next year. And their overrated coach can't do anything about it. And it was just such a joy. After Joe Rexrode came on this show and talked about, the Colts, I think they could beat whoever. I think they could beat Kansas City. Oh, my God. And it's just been like a year. It feels like a long year full of listening to everybody kiss up to the Colts and kiss up to Reich and kiss up to Ballard and kiss up to Wentz. And I'm so glad that most of America can now look at the Colts and see what I've seen all along. That is, Ballard is overrated. He's a okay general manager. Reich has never done anything in his career as a coach. And that Carson Wentz absolutely sucks and makes everywhere he is worse. And now America knows it. Oh, it feels so much better to say that.
I was going to ask, do you feel better?
I do. I
feel like you just lost so much weight off of your shoulders. You just needed to get that out.
I could not handle the amount of bull crap.
Well, and a lot of the bull crap that came whenever Indy was kind of inching their way up into the Titans, the division was in question, and then Carson Wentz was still kind of like the savior for the Colts. When Carson Wentz did not dig them out of that hole at all, it was all Jonathan Taylor.
Oh,
and it is all Frank Reich, who won't use their running back, who was in conversation for the NFL MVP.
Carson Wentz came in here with 2 bad ankles in September. Jonathan Taylor averaged 10 yards a carry, and I think he got 11 carries. It was crazy. I don't watching the game. I'm give the ball to 28. What are you doing?
On every single down because Carson Wentz is stuck in quicksand. He doesn't have ankles.
He stinks. Wentz. Here's what's crazy. And I texted this to somebody yesterday, and I want to make sure that I pull up the text because this is for me that just it gets me. Let me see. Where was that text? Somebody just texted me as I was going through my phone. I think I sent it to. I know this is bad radio. I'm sorry. Give me a second here. But this is so important to me that I just want to share. Here you go. Carson Wentz made so much money that in Philadelphia they had to get rid of his backup, who most people in that organization thought was better than him, who won them that Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. They had to get rid of the backup because he made too much money. Then he cried about his coach and got the coach fired. Then they hired a coach for him, and he still didn't want to play for that coach. So the entire organization is on their knees for you, and he's still no, I don't want to do this. Humble guy, that Carson Wentz. So then a team trades a first and a third for him. Now, again, they have to lie to everybody about what they traded for him, a conditional second. A conditional second sounds like they might get a second if Wentz lives up to the deal. Not, it's a second if he doesn't live up to the deal. It's a first if he does anything that he's supposed to. They trade a first or third for him. So one team has gotten rid of the quarterback that won them a Super Bowl MVP, got rid of the coach that won them a Super Bowl, and is taking a $33 million dead cap hit on this guy this year. The second team is taking a $21 million dead cap hit, trading a first and a third for him. He got hurt. He got COVID. He wasn't very good. And when push came to shove, his team missed the playoffs because of him. And the team that got rid of him is in the playoffs with Jalen Hurts. And the coach that they hired for him and his team that every national pundit said was a Super Bowl contender, the team nobody wanted to play in the AFC playoffs, can't beat Jacksonville. $32 million against the Eagles cap this year. Unfreaking believable. You know, it'd be one thing. Like, they paid Old Man Rivers $25 million to come in there last year. Mm-hmm. And, like, he was at the end of it. And
I think both parties understood that.
He was fine. Like, Rivers was fine last year, and they were fine. And, you know, they lost by 3 points in the first game at a good Buffalo team. Okay. Like, that happens. That's football. Titans can lose by 3 points in the divisional round, and it doesn't mean that this team wasn't very good. But, like, Rivers was what he was. And they bring Wentz in, and it's like, well, Wentz can be better than Rivers. He was so much worse than Rivers. And they paid a first and a third and $21 million for him. Oh, my God. I don't ever want to hear it. And you know what's funny? Come June, August next year, oh, my God. The amount of Reich and Ballard are just so great at what they do.
This is the bounce back season.
They extended them in August, and we were like, on this show, we were like, what are they doing? What if those guys done, they like garners an extension? Oh, I got so much joy out of that yesterday. And if you didn't get joy out of what happened to Indianapolis, and you know what the best part about the joy with Indianapolis is?
What?
They have to stick with Wentz.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have any choice.
They've
him money. They've invested too much into him.
They got a first and a third. They're stuck with him. Oh, it's great. Oh, God, this guy. He is the Trojan horse of the National Football League. Oh, God, it's amazing. And you know what's funny, too, is I remember, and this was pre-COVID, this had to be 2019. And I remember we were sitting in the studio during a break, and Floyd would always have ESPN on one TV and NFL Network on the other TV. And one of the shows was talking about Carson Wentz. And so it's during a break, and he looks at me and just randomly out of nowhere goes, you know, I don't know what it is, but the more I watch this Wentz, the more I don't like. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I just don't think he's very good. And, like, he really only circled 3 quarterbacks, Carson Wentz, Joe Flacco, and Kirk Cousins, as guys that he couldn't stand.
I've heard so many stories about how much Floyd just despised Joe Flacco.
Hated Joe Flacco. And, like, he knew. He knew, but the best general manager in the league in Indianapolis, he didn't know. Let's get to your phones on this next. Oh, goodness. 615-737-1025. The best general manager and the best coach. Yeah, right. This is okay. Yeah. All right. 615-737-1025. Throw it all onto the table. We're to your phones next. Stillman and Company. Plus, I do have to give like a couple this Brian Flores thing's kind of crazy. Stillman and Company. Crazy. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine will continue for us all afternoon. However, it's not going to warm us up very much. Highs will be in the upper 30s and lower 40s, and we'll do it again on Tuesday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Fed up with companies selling your data? DuckDuckGo is on it. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities, where every Saturday is an opportunity on the road to greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game. Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
Check out the January clearance sale going on now at Social Furniture. You can save up to 70% off Ashley Furniture. Come first for the best selection of furniture before it's gone, and you don't want to miss out. Social Furniture has truckloads of the best selection of furniture. Get your nightstands, mattresses, bar stools, sofas, and recliners all on sale now with no waiting. You can take home your new furniture today. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue or on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Is that a horse?
Actually, it's a wild stallion. Since Navy Federal Credit Union's Platinum Card made it easier to tame our holiday debt, I wanted to see if I could tame something else.
Uh-huh.
Help me saddle up. I need to pick the kids up from school.
With a low intro APR on balance transfers, the Platinum Credit Card lets you take control of your debt. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/Platinum offer. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
So there is a little news to get to, and we will get to your phones here in just a second on the Colts and everything else. So the Giants have placed a request for the Titans, like number 2 and 2A in the department, the personnel department. Ryan Cowden and Monty Ossenfort. I could not give two poops about those guys leaving. Could not care. They're just drafting so well right now that, I mean, God forbid that they let these guys go. So, whatever. I'm sure Titan fans will be like, don't take our guys. But, like, you don't even know what they do. So, I don't, more power to them. I do want to get to the phones. I do have a lot of thoughts, though. Brian Flores got fired in Miami. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of crazy. I think Flores is a pretty good coach. The one thing I'll ask is this, and they'll never tell you the answer because, as Tom Brady would say, it's none of your business. Apparently there was a power struggle in Miami. Mm-hmm. Who drafted Tua over Herbert? That's all I want to know. If it was Flores' call, and you never know with these organizations, if it's the coach or if it's the GM or how much power one has compared to the other, whoever drafted Tua over Herbert is the one who should lose their job. That's all I have to say. And I don't think it was Flores. I think Flores has done a pretty decent job. So, just shows me that the Dolphins are who they are, and this is why they've never been good since Dan Marino left. Because they just do the same old dumb crap every time. They'll go hire another Adam Gase, and they'll have him for much longer, and they'll stink. Let's go to your phones as promised. 615-737-1025. Live from 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. Adam has been waiting patiently and wants to get in on the Colts. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Adam.
All right, man. Hey, so this is my problem with the Colts, man. I've been battling these fans online all season. They've been so unnecessarily arrogant with this team because there's nothing that jumps out about them that was elite. They have a good running back, but even the way they talked about him, it was like, oh, Derrick Henry can't, hold JT's jock is basically the way they're saying. And I'm like, this is just so – and we're 5-1 in the division and just fighting these dudes. So this is my question for you, though, Jared. All right, with that being said, do you think the AFC South has ever been this bad? Because I feel like it's really bad. Like, we're good, but I've never seen it this bad.
So I appreciate your call, and I would agree with you that the AFC South's really bad. I think it was like this bad when you were one of the bad teams. So like 2014, 2015, like that time period, you were bad. Jacksonville was bad. Indy would get Andrew Luck hurt, and they weren't very good. And the Texans would win the division with Brian Hoyer at quarterback and lost 30-0 at home in that noon Saturday kickoff game. And the AFC South was pretty bad. But, yeah, I mean, this is the one thing that you talk about striking while the iron is hot. you have a bye that maybe other teams don't because your division is god-awful. And you won every game you needed to win except for the one Texan game. But that did play a part in it. Like, you're not that much better than Buffalo. And Cincinnati's division, much harder than your division. Russ is up next on the Texan game, 615-737-1025. Go ahead, Russ.
Hey, Jared. Thanks for taking my call. I'll talk about it a little bit. I know what you're trying to get into at the beginning of the show, and I felt it. We saved our money and went to a ball game this year, and it was the Texans game in Nashville. And we sat there in the rain, and it was awful. It was awful what we went through as fans. And so coming into this week, I thought, there's no way. There's no way. And we didn't lose, and that's awesome, and we're moving forward. I get that. But I thought, we're going to put our foot on their throat. They're not going to be able to breathe. They're not going to score. We may put up 50 on them by halftime. And I'm excited we're moving on, but I am bothered that that's not what happened yesterday, because I thought if any team had anything to play for yesterday, and if there was any game that wasn't going to be close at all, it was going to be payback time for the Texans yesterday. But it just wasn't, and I just can't move forward without thinking, there's something. Who is it? He wins the big games, but how could that have even been a close game yesterday?
So, Russ, I'm going to stop you right there, and I appreciate your call. I will say this one thing. Ian brought up a great point. Division games are always close.
Mm-hmm.
Division games are always close.
It's almost how they're designed.
Right. And the Titans took a smoke break at halftime. They went out to lunch. That's what they did. Like, they put their feet up on the desk, because nobody in the NFL ever likes to admit to not playing hard because you only have to do it 17 times. So nobody ever wants to be like, yeah, I make $13.5 million and I put my thumb up my rear end for a half.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what happened. They went out to lunch.
Well, they were up 21-0. They got comfortable.
Yeah, we'll be the 1 seed. All right. All right, yeah.
Bye week next week.
That's what they did. And that's why what happened. 615-737-1025. Ryan Tannehill. We've had a lot of Ryan Tannehill discussions on this show. Did Ryan Tannehill prove you, not me, you, right yesterday? We'll discuss next here on Stillman & Company. TriStar Moving. Those are my official movers. They're the presenting sponsor of our show. I moved over a year ago, and I moved with TriStar Moving, and it was the best moving experience I have ever had. They made the entire process so simple, and that's why their motto is TriStar Movers with 5-star service. From the initial phone call to the final signature, moving was a breeze. They offer home protection, so they cover floors, banisters, railings, door jambs, and even the doors themselves. They are always upping the game when it comes to mover trading, and everything was taken care of. If you're looking to move today, use TriStar Moving. They've got a state-of-the-art storage facility in Mount Juliet as well, and their owners, Garrett and Robert in Nashville, are Nashvillians who care about helping out their hometown. That's why I love them, because they took great care of me. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nationalmoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nationalmoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. They are TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are 2 guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while, and I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do, and everybody just said surgery, and surgery was months of rehab, and I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
That's 615-249-4024. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
Hey, Darren McFarland here. DraftKings Sportsbook has an unbelievable offer to get all fans in the action for this exciting time on the football calendar. New customers, listen up. You can bet just $5 on any football team to win their game, and when they do, you win $200 in free bets. So let's just wind down the season with a big win. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on football with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that code 1025GAME and bet just $5 on any football team, college or pro, and win $200 in free bets if they are victorious. That code again, 1025GAME. This week at DraftKings Sportsbook, you must be 21 years of age or older. Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Good morning.
Robbie and Rex Road mornings from 6 to 10.
It's not bad. Might have to work on that. Not bad. It's a starting point.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, and now Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. Drink Focus, PHOCUS.com. We got our Focus right here in front of us. We're live at 312 Pizza Company on Monroe Street in Germantown today for the national championship game. So the Titans clinched the 1 seed yesterday, and by the hair on their rear ends, they found a way to beat the Houston Texans. And as our fan base told us in the last hour, which I would assume overlaps a lot with Titans fan base, the fans do not care about the fact that it was by the hair on their rear ends, which is fine. Anybody can care about whatever they want to care about. But all season, there's been somewhat of a disagreement between me and Titans fans. Now, just to recap how this has all gone down, I started the year thinking that Ryan Tannehill was a borderline Pro Bowl quarterback. So what you think of Stafford, what you think now of Kyler Murray, what you think of Dak Prescott. You know, I didn't think he was an elite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. I didn't think he was Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Jimmy Garoppolo. But this season, all the numbers would say, all the rankings would say that he's been more like Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, and Jimmy Garoppolo, which isn't good. He's been like Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa, which is not good. And all season, for whatever reason, he has never been able to elevate the Titans this year. And I looked at it and I thought, this is bad. Like, this is bad for the Titans. This is going to hold them back. This is going to keep them back in the playoffs. That at some point, you got to have a quarterback who can go out there and win you a game. I'm not saying you got to have Rodgers, but you got to have a quarterback that can go out there. And every game they played where it felt like, boy, they really needed Tannehill, he wasn't there. They were winning games where he wasn't playing well, but in the games they were losing, goodness gracious. You know, rookie quarterback mistakes, like taking a delay of game before a game-tying field goal to move it from 44 yards to 49 yards against the Jets. What? That's not acceptable. Careless turnovers, not seeing the safety or the linebacker in the middle of the field, fumbling the snap against the Steelers. And every time he'd lose a game like that, I'd look at you and be like, guys, this is somebody who last year was campaigning to get into the Pro Bowl as the third best quarterback in the conference. This is a guy who 2 years ago was in the Pro Bowl. And he can't do anything right. And you guys were like, well, Jared, I mean, you got to think about it. He lost his receivers, and he lost his coordinator, and he lost his running back. And even though his offensive line is essentially the exact same as it's been, they still stay. I mean, it's not his fault, Jared, all year. And I kept telling you guys, when you make $30 million a year, at some point you got to elevate the team. Aside from the, well, Jared, what's he supposed to do without his wide receivers? Tom Brady had his star wide receiver run off the field and quit the team in the middle of the game last week. Another one of his star wide receivers tore his ACL, and the other one has been in and out of the lineup too. And guess what? That doesn't stop Brady from throwing a game-winning touchdown pass to Cyril Grayson III or whatever, who I'd never heard of before. That's what good quarterbacks do. And at some point, Tannehill's going to have to step up, elevate, make a play, win you a game. And Titan fans, I mean, just the crying every time. What do you expect him to do with Nick Westbrook-Akina? Yesterday, defense, which has played pretty well and carried Tannehill for most of the year. Defense playing like absolute crap in the second half. Offense, not running the ball effectively, not making big plays, not huge holes for the running backs, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Somebody had to make a play. And for the first time in 2021, even though it's 2022 now, the first time this season, Ryan Tannehill, who failed to elevate his team into playoffs last year when the Ravens took Derrick Henry out of the game, who has failed every time they've lost a game to step up and make a difference, no matter how many excuses were made for him that it was Dez Fitzpatrick's fault. Ryan Tannehill avoids a sack, runs out of the pocket, steps up, and fires a ball to a wide-open Nick Westbrook-Akina for 35 yards. Titans move the ball down the field with a tight window touchdown throw to, surprise, surprise, Julio Jones. So for the first time all year, he finally elevated the team. And it just happened to be the most important game of the season because it was the one that really all the marbles were sitting there. And I'm wondering this question. Is that who Tannehill is? So from now on, I don't want to hear that Tannehill can't be that, because he was that yesterday. I don't want them to go out there in the playoffs in the first game and say Zach Taylor in Cincinnati go out of their way to keep Derrick Henry from running the ball, and A.J. Brown gets dinged up, which I don't know if you guys noticed this. A.J. got dinged up again yesterday, and I don't want to hear that when Tannehill, if he does, throws for 145 yards and you lose and 2 interceptions, that it's not his fault, but it's Chester Rogers' fault. I don't want to hear that. Tannehill makes the most money on the team. At some point, you got to elevate your team. You all told me that was an unreasonable expectation, and he did it yesterday. He won you the game yesterday. I gave out 2 game balls. He got one of them. The other one went to Dontrell Hilliard. So this is my question for Tannehill going forward. Is this who he is? This is the guy that you all, when I've been looking at some of these games thinking, my goodness gracious, I took the cheese on this guy. When I said, they should sign him over signing Tom Brady. I took the bait. I got suckered in. Like the 64% of you when we ran a poll in the 2020 offseason and said, who would you rather have at quarterback? And 64% said they'd rather have Tannehill as the quarterback. I was part of the 64%, and I got suckered in. And I felt dumb when Tannehill threw for 165, a touchdown, and a game-losing pick. When he missed a wide-open Cam Batson in the middle of the field against the Ravens. I felt dumb when Tom Brady hoisted the Lombardi trophy up over his head. And I thought, oh, my God, what would it look like if it was Brady and Henry and A.J. and Davis and Arthur and, oh, God. And I felt dumb this year. And everybody was like, you're the biggest Tannehill hater. You're out there. I'm asking this question. Is this who he is? Because if he can do this in the playoffs, and he's not going to have to carry you in every game, but he's going to have to carry you probably in one. And if he can do that, I don't know how you beat the Titans. If the Titans show up to play, which I think against any of these AFC teams, I think they will. And I went from last week of just whatever you do, and this is really where I am, which is whatever you do, please do not But it wasn't like he had any skill, unless he's a Jedi and I don't know it. It wasn't like he has any skill that kept that football from going to the Texans.
He kind of looked like a Jedi when he escaped that sack.
Yeah, well, that was one time this year. And I'm wondering if there's more of that where that came from or if that was the one time he could do that. But when you fumble the football, if the other team picks it up, that's going to cost you a game. And I've been looking at it like, please do not turn the ball over. I've just been asking Tannehill to not lose the game for the Titans. That when Derrick Henry's back and everything, just please don't lose it. You know, where you only have to make one semi-okay throw against the 49ers to win a game. Just do that. And I'll see if the defense can carry me across the finish line. But then you show me what you did yesterday, and I'm like, if you can do that, and the defense can play the way the defense has played most of this year before they put their feet up on the desk and cracked open their champagne bottles at halftime, and Derrick Henry's coming back, I think you got a shot. So this is the question. Is this who Tannehill is or is it not? I have a friend who got married, high school sweetheart, right? Mm-hmm. Gets married, high school sweetheart, and all of a sudden people grow apart, people grow up, all kinds of different things happen. And the person that they were waiting for their spouse to become, who they thought, high school sweetheart, waiting for them to become more responsible, waiting for them to be, kind of more driven, and ultimately they got to a point, even though kids and houses, and they're like, this isn't going to work out for us. And they end up getting a divorce. There comes a point in time where it's like, I've been waiting. And that's how I feel about Tannehill. But yesterday showed me you've got it in you. You've got it in you to make a play here or there. I know you do. You've got it. I'm a little surprised. Here. This is now the question of what is Tannehill capable of? Or was this a one-hit wonder? Was this the one guy who out of nowhere who was it? Luke Vogt or Stephen Vogt or whatever it was, won the World Series MVP with the Red Sox in 2018 and was retired in 2019. Is that what it is? I don't know. But that's the big question for me. Who is Tannehill? Is this who he is? Is he not? Let's get your reaction. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. And this is the question. Is this who Ryan Tannehill is? Because for the first time in 17 tries, he won the Titans the game. 615-737-1025. What about Julio Jones? Because I will say this. I know Joe Rexrode was excited today listening to the morning show about Julio's 4 catches. Or 5 catches or whatever it was. What about Julio? He did score a touchdown. We'll get your thoughts on that too. 615-737-1025. Again, we are live at 312 Pizza Company today here on Stillman and Company because it's the national championship game. And let me tell you about FanDuel Sportsbook because that's my official sportsbook app. The college football championship is here, and to celebrate, FanDuel is hooking up new customers with 30-1 enhanced odds on either team to win. This means you can bet $5 to win $150 on either team to win it all. And I would say Alabama has won almost every other big game they played with Georgia, so I'm not sure why this would be any different. Just sign up for FanDuel Sportsbook using the promo code JGM and make a deposit to claim your 30-1 enhanced odds. There's no better place to bet the college football championship than on FanDuel. And when you win, FanDuel will pay your winnings in as little as 2 hours. Don't miss your chance to win $150 on a $5 bet. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app or head to FanDuel.com and use the promo code JGM to get 30-1 odds on either team to win. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Tosh is going to throw it. Lobs to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Mitchell.
The College Football National Championship is set.
Young throws. Has his man. Touchdown. Slade Bolden.
Alabama versus Georgia. And it will just mean more. tonight. Coverage begins at 6.
Presented by 312 Pizza Company and Central Barbecue on ESPN.
94.9, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Want the same internet but more privacy? DuckDuckGo's got you covered. They help millions of people like you get privacy online without any trade-offs. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Patients go to Houston Clinic Orthopedics after they've exhausted other pain management treatments, like physical therapy or lifestyle changes. If you suffer from chronic pain, interventional pain management may be the solution. With interventional pain management, the physicians at Houston Clinic Orthopedics use a variety of quick, minimally invasive procedures. The goal is to disrupt the pain cycle and reduce or alleviate your pain. Schedule your appointment at tn.houston.com. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
It's a new year and there are new deals just for you at theGameNashville.com/deals. Right now, buy $100 and get $50 free to the Woodhouse Spa Nashville. Also save 75% off at Nashville Armory, the Beanbag Coffee and Tea Shop, and Seafood Sensation. And get $50 free with a $100 purchase in downtown Dollars. Save up to 75% off your favorite places today. It's Nashville's best deals at theGameNashville.com/deals.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are people of action. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Around the world, generations of leaders build new friendships and solve problems, turning great ideas into reality. Take action with us. Find out more at Rotary.org/action.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Tennessee trying to avoid a fourth consecutive 3-and-out. It's 3rd and 5. Tannehill in trouble and stays on his feet, keeps it alive, throws on the run. Westbrook-Akina has it down the sideline and out of bounds. How did Tannehill do it?
Yeah, you're constantly fighting for the respect of your teammates, which I believe I have, and your opponents. You know, at the end of the day, like I play to win games. So whether it'd be nice to get recognized, but I'm not worried about it. You know, I'm worried about finding ways to win games, lead my team, be great in big moments and critical moments, and win football games.
The guy who complained about not making the Pro Bowl last year, I'm not looking for recognition. You know, I'm here for the respect of my teammates, and okay. But that was by far the most impactful Ryan Tannehill has been on a Titan game this year, yesterday. If that's who he is in the playoffs, carrying the team when he has to carry them, it's going to be hard to beat the Titans. Are you taking the cheese on yesterday's performance?
I need more of a sample size.
Well, you got 17 games.
So no.
Ian, are you taking the cheese on what we saw yesterday from Tannehill?
I don't know. Part of me wonders if it was just because it was Houston that he had a good game. In Houston's secondary and defense, it seemed like the Titans came out ready to pass a lot more than I anticipated. They were throwing the ball a lot more than I thought they would. I don't know if that was a matchup thing. I don't know if that was trying to get Tannehill into a rhythm as the playoffs go. But I'm not totally buying the cheese, not yet. I think he will be solid as long as he does. I'm just looking for no turnovers. I'll be honest with you.
That's the key. Are you taking the cheese on Tannehill?
No. But I did know that yesterday was going to be the moment for a lot of people that have texted this show or called this show to be like, "See, Jared, Ryan Tannehill." I'm like, where was that in the Pittsburgh game? Where was what happened yesterday in the Pittsburgh game? When all you guys called in and blamed Racy McMath. Where was that? Where was that in the Texan game? When everybody was like, Des Fitzpatrick ran the wrong route. Where was that yesterday? So all of a sudden, these receivers who stink don't stink anymore? Westbrook-Akina's good now?
Well, AJ and Julio were both out there.
Yeah, but how many big plays did AJ make yesterday? One?
The touchdown was nice, yeah.
It's almost like just the presence of AJ elevates Tannehill.
Well, it definitely affects the defense, the presence of AJ.
It does.
I think the presence of AJ affects Anthony Ferkser, because apparently Anthony Ferkser has remembered how to catch the ball, which I am a little surprised by.
A pleasant surprise nonetheless.
But, do I think against a good team that you're going to be able to do that? Then again,
Maybe.
Tannehill, remember Joe Retro's favorite stat? Tannehill was 9 of 9 in the fourth quarter against Buffalo, even though he was wretched in the first 3 quarters of that game.
Well, that's exactly why he knows the stat line for just the fourth quarter.
That's why he kept blowing it up, because it was like, see, I got to tell you, like, and I'm going to say this about the Robbie and Rexroad program, and I really don't mean this. Like, this really has nothing to do with Robbie. But it feels like it's starting to become like a pretty fanorific show.
I'm not going to sit here and pick apart Robbie and Rexroad.
Did you not? Today they were talking about Julio in the mix with. By the way, Julio had 50 yards.
Joe saying that Julio, like it was more important for Julio to get some reps in than it was for Derrick Henry. I spit out my water. What?
Joe said today that, and I don't remember the exact wording, but I was literally at the gym and my head popped up like, he did not just say that. And that was when I texted you that I thought, I was like, man, is this getting like a little homerific over here? Like, is this getting, and again, this really has nothing to do with Robbie, but.
So it's just Joe.
No, but it's the Robbie and the Rexroad. It's the tone of the program.
Okay.
But I'm sitting there, and it was like Joe said something along the lines of, with Ferkser and Julio catching the ball the way Julio caught it yesterday, that you add those two with AJ and Westbrook-Akina, and, like, that's a pretty good foursome. And I'm like, dude, it's the playoffs.
Is it a pretty good foursome, or is it your foursome?
Okay, well,
there's two different things.
Here are the other foursomes in the AFC. You're one.
Okay.
So you're going to war right now, and let's take running backs out because he didn't count Derek. Mm-hmm. So you've got Westbrook-Akina, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Anthony Ferkser. The number 2 team has Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Byron Pringle, and Mecole Hardman. Who would you rather have?
I would say the second.
Okay. The third team has Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, Isaiah McKenzie, and Dawson Knox. Who would you rather have?
Probably that one.
Okay. The fourth team has Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd,
T. Higgins,
and Uzama, that tight end who actually is a pretty bad boy.
That one.
Okay. All right. Like, come on, guys. Like, look, I love the Titans. I do. I'll be at the games. I'll be in the crowd. But let's not get too carried away here. That's all I'm saying.
That's exactly how I felt about Julio, was when he made those first couple of big plays. Not even big plays. Plays, period, was, oh boy, I'm going to be hearing so much of this from the text line, from people on Twitter tomorrow, because I knew that people would take whatever Julio did and ran with it. It's like if your friend has a really bad significant other, and it's like they're just mean to them all the time, and it's just a toxic relationship, and then he brings her flowers once, and she's like, see?
God.
And it's like, no, but he cheated on you. That's how I felt about Julio. Was like, yeah, that was great. I mean, I'm not going to take away from a touchdown and 50-yard performance because that's more than we've seen from Julio in a long time. But, like, I'm not willing to say, okay, take him back because he brought you flowers. I'm not saying Julio's earning his paycheck because he had 50 yards and a touchdown. Doesn't take away from that game that he had 0 yards.
Do you think that it burned Joe's rear end at all that Khalif Raymond had a 75-yard touchdown against Green Bay?
I think he loved it.
No, I think Joe wants to be like, see, I think he really wanted to see me
look
yesterday.
What Khalif Raymond can do.
No, but like that was me who was like, I don't want to see Julio make one play in the playoffs, and you guys be like, see, and I'd be like, Khalif Raymond can make that play because that's what Khalif Raymond did against Baltimore, one dime. And then it was like, Joe got really excited on Twitter yesterday about Julio making a couple catches, and I was like, and he was like, should we get excited about it? I was like, no. And he was like, I don't want to hear it from someone that would say, well, Khalif Raymond could have done that. And then Raymond has a 75-yard touchdown against the Packers. Let's go to your phone. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Joe's going to be really mad about that homerific comment, by the way.
Yeah, he's going to be mad. I'm excited for Wednesday.
But do you think, like, we're all friends here. We obviously listen to the show for 4 hours at a time, so it's not like we don't like the Robbie and Rexroad program.
Big fan.
But it's just like, sometimes Joe gets carried away, and I feel like Joe's getting a little carried away. That's all I'm saying. Larry is going to kick us off this hour. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com on Ryan Tannehill. Thank you for waiting. You go ahead, Larry.
Jared, listen, man. Okay. Can you handle the truth?
That's all this show does. That's why it's so freaking popular. Go ahead.
The truth is, Ryan Tannehill is the best Titans quarterback to ever put on that jersey. Okay? Let me tell you something else. Henry went down in week 8, 9 games ago. We are 6-3 He's throwing to bums most of the season. Third and fourth stringers. Our number 1 and number 2, sometimes number 3 receiver was out. We are 6-3 without Henry. What would our record be of that 9-game span without Tannehill? There's an old country music song called Love the One You're With. He's what we got. Stand behind him, support him. We went to the playoffs 3 times in a row. Tannehill is the man. He throws laser, rocket, accurate throws. Sure, he turns the ball over. Give the man a break. Without him, we wouldn't be sniffing the playoffs. And that's all I got.
Larry, normally I like your takes. Thank you for your call. Normally I like your takes, especially one time after the first preseason game when he said the Titans were going to go 0-16. So I like some of that. Like that is just not true. Like, let's start with the beginning of his call. Tannehill's the best quarterback to ever put on a Titans jersey. Tannehill win MVP for the Titans?
No.
Okay, done there. Now, the 6-3 record without Henry. Is that what their record was? I'll take his word for it. But how many of those games did they win because of Tannehill? Like, Tannehill barely did anything against the Rams. That was a defense
That was a
game.
defense win.
Tannehill barely did anything against the Saints. If it wasn't for Jerome Boger being Jerome Boger, Tannehill would have cost you the Saints game.
And if it wasn't for the repeated missed kicks by the Saints kicker,
the
Saints probably would have won that game.
They beat Jacksonville 20-0 in a game that I legitimately fell asleep in the second half of.
That was a boring game.
Which I didn't think Tannehill was good in that game, but I didn't think Tannehill was bad. I mean, that game was just such a go-through-the-motions, blah, BS game. This game, Tannehill won them. He won them this game. Other than that, the idea of, Tannehill's out there throwing BBs, throwing rockets, like the San Francisco game, I thought that was all AJ. I thought Tannehill made one good throw.
It was a good throw.
The good throw for the touchdown where he zipped it in between 2 guys.
Yeah.
Who they beat last week?
The Dolphins.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that game was just,
Yeah.
But, I don't think that like an average quarterback, if you guys think Vrabel's the coach of the year, and I'm fine with Vrabel being coach of the year, but I think it's so much more so like what Vrabel's doing and the defensive line and I think it's so much more that than anything that the offense has been doing, right? Like you can argue that Deontay Foreman, a guy who literally didn't have a job 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, whatever it was, that he was more important in the Dolphin win than Tannehill.
And I think that if you're going to make an offensive argument in terms of who is winning games for the Titans, if you're going to say anything on offense, it has to be the run.
Yes.
That's what's won this team games is good defense, a good defensive line, a good pass rush, and running the ball.
I just don't get the idea of how dare you even kind of criticize Tannehill? But it does feel like locally there's a lot of that. It feels like locally that there's a lot of sacred cowism with Ryan Tannehill.
It absolutely does.
And I will
absolutely give credit to Tannehill where credit is due, and I will give him credit for that game yesterday because he did win the Titans that game yesterday, and he did look confident, and he did go out there and look like the Ryan Tannehills of the past. But in games where he throws multiple interceptions and muffs the snap, I'm sorry, I can't give him credit. And if Titans fans want to hold this team to a standard of a Super Bowl standard, which I think is fair,
he's going to have to play like yesterday.
He's going to have to play like a Super Bowl quarterback. And I'm not saying that he has to go out there and be Tom Brady, but go out there and do what you do best and don't turn the ball over.
Let's get back to your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025, live from 312 Pizza Company. Again, come on by, register to win those Dierks Bentley tickets. They'll be giving them away tonight during the national championship game. You must be present, though. So a great place to watch the ball game tonight, 312 Pizza Company here in Germantown. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Cousins put it in front of the score. Tomasino lofts it in. 2-0 Nashville.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Well, don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Willie Donick here. It's time to call the folks at QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative, restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them give you the steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is the only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics and do it now. And imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
The Eagles Hotel California Tour.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
Live in concert with a full orchestra. Performing their iconic album Hotel California, beginning to end, plus a greatest hits set. The Eagles, Bridgestone Arena, April 28th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. With Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, get a unit that lasts with their 10-year parts and labor warranty. Get ahead of the game now and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no interest financing and 10 years parts and labor warranty on all new units. Restrictions apply and not available on all equipment. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Hey, this is Jared, the owner of MTGRT.com. Have you heard about those pesky appraisal gaps? We have too. That's why for our buyers, we create a custom appraisal gap analysis. You know what? A strong appraisal gap analysis from MTGRT.com helps prepare your offer for what could be. Let us help you make your dream home a reality. Text me on my cell today at 615-969-2257 or schedule time for us to talk online at MTGRT.com.
Hey, it's Elijah Campbell from Darren, Donick, and Chase, and I got my radio start right here as an intern at ESPN 102.5 The Game. It was an excellent experience, and we're now looking for new interns. If you think that's you, go ahead and send your resume over to together@cromwellmedia.com to apply.
Tuesday night.
Down to Pippen, left baseline. Got around his man. Slides to the hole and lays it in.
The Commodores trying to get back in the win column as they take on Kentucky at Memorial Gym. Coverage begins at 5:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, through all the ups and downs, I mean, the first thing you think of is the first time we played them in that bad weather and the interceptions. Tannehill he doesn't get phased. He's has like this life about him, this leadership about him that, he never says die. He's like a Goonie, never says die. So he definitely did a great job. When we were in the huddle in that 4-minute, we're all talking. We have our keys during 4-minute of what to do, what not to do, and so we're all reminding ourselves of that. And then Tannehill comes in, gives the boys a nice little pump-up speech, and then calls the play. So awesome to win that game. Wish we would have won it better, but it was great to win that game in a 4-minute and run the ball when they know we're going to run the ball.
There you go. That was Taylor Lewan yesterday. Hilliard with some very impressive runs there. We're talking about Ryan Tannehill live from 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. Great spot for the national championship game. I was just kind of glancing through the text line, and we will get to some of these texts, but I feel like I'm trying to argue with Titan fans about Tim Tebow or something right now. It's like, what are you watching? We talk about Tannehill, and it's like, Jared, Tannehill is the freaking man, and he goes out there, and he is zipping the ball, and he throws for like 172 yards a game.
Which is fine.
He's not Brett Favre.
Which is fine when the game plan is to run the ball.
Right, but I feel like this argument, I'll tell you, Tannehill played his best game of the year last year. The most impactful Ryan Tannehill has played in 2021 season was yesterday. And yet, like, the text line is literally, this reminds me of the Tim Tebow thing where it's like, yeah, Tebow's not very good. Tebow is the best. He's a winner. He's the best. And it's like, yeah, no, he can't throw the ball. No, Tim Tebow. That's what I feel like I'm dealing with here. Let's go to your phones as promised, unless you have a thought.
To the phones.
Titans and Truth. Chris is up next. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, good afternoon, y'all. Good to hear from you. And I want to put it like this. Is Tannehill pretty solid? Yes, he is solid. Not to the last caller's point, I almost, like Caroline, want to spit out my water. Greatest ever to put on the Titans uniform. I think there's a certain guy, God rest his soul, who wore number 9. That might say something a little different.
Here's my question for you, though, about solid, right? Like 20 of 31, 191, no touchdowns, no picks. Is that solid?
I'm going to say no. I mean, on the good side, you don't turn the ball over.
Okay, 23 of 32, 153, and 1 pick.
Not solid, because you turned the ball over.
22 of 29, 209, 1 touchdown, no picks.
I would say that's solid. I would say that's okay.
Okay. 13 of 18, 120, 2 touchdowns.
The 2 touchdowns kind of makes it a little solid, which would have been more yards. But I would say, pretty solid because you got points.
And then yesterday, 287, 4 touchdowns. And again, yesterday was his best game. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the last month of Tanner. That's not like 153, $30 million for 153.
But this team also runs the ball. I mean, we've said it so many times.
I'm asking for 220.
Tannehill to throw the ball.
No. There's a difference between like 120 and 220. I'm not asking for 320, but like 120, that's not solid. That's just that's game manager. Like that's, freaking don't ever throw it. Sorry, Chris, continue.
Well, I will say this. I would say my definition of solid is decent enough to where it's good enough to win the game. It's good enough to at least help you win the game with a running game and not necessarily – I'm not saying like, oh, my God, those are the greatest stats ever for somebody that's getting paid $30 million. But I would say Tannehill solid, but I'm hearing people saying he's like the best thing ever, and I can't agree with that. And I think I'm the only one that will say, yes, am I glad the Titans won, got the number 1 seed? Absolutely. But am I, do I care about how they play in the second half? You're darn right I care. I didn't like the way that the second half was going. Like you said, it felt like, we got the number 1 seed locked up. We don't really need to work hard anymore. And they let up. If you let up against a team, if you let up against some of these other teams, the Bills, the Patriots, I'll even say the Raiders, even though I know probably these teams the Titans should beat, they're better than the Texans. If you let up against some of these teams, even in the playoffs, you will get your butt beat, and you will be sitting at home watching the rest of the playoffs. So,
okay, Chris, yeah, I hear you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your call. Okay, so here's my one thing that I feel about that. Like, the Titans aren't going to let up against any team in the playoffs unless they get a humongous first-half lead. And I'm almost kind of at the point where it's like, if you get a 21-0 lead against Kansas City and you blow it in the second half, then we can go back and after the fact be like, man, you guys really screwed the pooch. But I think, like, I'll take my chances if I can get a 21-0 lead against the Chiefs. I'll take my chances if I can get a big first-half lead against the Bills, that the Titans will be smart enough to realize that there's another 30 minutes of football. So if you can outscore somebody by 20 points in the first 30 minutes, they can do the same in the second 30 minutes. So I guess that doesn't bother me as much as kind of like the audacity that the Titans, who already lost this Texan team, would go in at halftime and think it's over. Like, that's just like guys, like, you do realize, like, you're not a perfect team.
And this is a team that very much so can beat you.
Already has. What do we have in the text line? 615-737-1025. But it's not like, if you don't show up in the second half against Buffalo, they'll beat you. Duh. But I just feel like the Titans are going to mentally approach things differently. What's next?
Michael from Missouri texts in and says, I'm happy with the way Tannehill played yesterday, and I agree he won the game for the Titans, but he's going to have to be better in the playoffs than he's been in the past. That is, unless Henry goes off like he has in the past in the playoffs. I'm not asking for 300 yards or anything either. Between 180 and 220, no turnovers.
Do you know how many times Ryan Tannehill's thrown for 300 yards this year?
Maybe once.
Twice. 347 against Seattle in the first game,
Okay.
323 on 52 attempts, and 4 interceptions against the Texans. And
4 interceptions.
so, I mean, Tannehill this year, let's just go off of since Derrick Henry got hurt, right? Because everybody's pumping the tires saying that you couldn't have done this without 143, 213, 232, 93, 191, 153, 209, 120, 287. So one really, really good game yesterday. One really, really bad game, the 1-300 game against the Texans in the first one. And then like a bunch of anywhere from like 93 to 200. Here was what Tannehill did last year. And this is where I'm like, okay, what am I missing here? Last year, from that similar point on, 259, 221, 389, 212, 273, 121, 216. So, I mean, you're looking at a guy that last year could get it up there into the 250s. And that's all I want is 240, You can't do what you did 2 years ago when you beat the Ravens and the Chiefs. Now, maybe the Ravens and the Patriots, maybe Derek will do this for you, but I'm not banking on it. Like, you're not going to throw for 90 yards and win 2 playoff games. I just don't see it possible.
But with those stats that you just named, was that Tannehill last season?
Yes.
But was Tannehill turning the ball over at the same rate that he has been this season?
God, no.
So why do you want the ball to continue to be in Ryan Tannehill's hands? Why do you want him to throw for 250?
Hasn't turned it over the last 2 weeks. I'm just saying, like, if you people are going to sit there and try to tell me that he's better than Steve McNair, like, I'm going to need him to do something. Like, I'm going to need him to do something.
That's fair.
And yesterday he did something. So maybe that's a sign that he'll do something going forward. I saw somebody tweet me that said, and sometimes I love this stuff, I had somebody that said, nobody hates excited Titans fans more than Jared Stillman and Paul Kaharski. How dare us have optimism and joy? I haven't said you can't win the Super Bowl. I have said, can the quarterback play like the quarterback played yesterday? But then the argument gets turned around into, what do you mean can the quarterback play like the way the quarterback played? The quarterback's great. And I'm like, guys, let's just be realistic about what we've seen this season. Like, hadn't been great. You've won games. Sometimes hard for me to figure out how they won as many games as they won, but they've won some of these games. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, Black Monday in the NFL. Goodbye to a lot of coaches. We'll do the headlines with Caroline. She'll have the rundown of who's in and who's out. So we'll do that coming up next. Live from 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear skies as we head into the evening hours. That's going to make it quite cold tonight as temperatures drop to the low 20s, up to the low 40s for Tuesday. Looking at mainly sunny to partly cloudy skies. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Fed up with companies selling your data? DuckDuckGo is on it. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers, all for free. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
If you snore, it may be a sign of a more serious, possibly life-threatening condition. Most people think of snoring as a nuisance, but it's a much more serious medical condition than you think. Snoring has been associated with chest pain, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic pain, obesity, headaches, and sore throat. Take a listen to what some of our patients are saying about the revolutionary Vivo system.
Right after I started using it, I noticed the results really, especially with the snoring. My sleep apnea episodes are a fraction of what they were before. This product's phenomenal. It changed my life.
I am 100% happy that I did this, and I'm thankful every day that I had it.
If you're curious about our sleep devices, call now for a sleep consultation. Don't let your spouse have to sleep in the guest room, and don't risk the severe health complications of snoring and sleep apnea.
Dr. Kelly Rice is certified to provide the Vivo system to open the airway for a better night's sleep.
Call 615-373-4488 or go to BrentwoodSleepApnea.com now to see which therapy can work best for you.
Individual results may vary. Always seek the advice of your health provider with any questions regarding a medical condition.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The Wave technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Robbie Stanley.
That size and that speed just doesn't grow on trees. That could be something that you could really turn into.
Joe Rexrode.
Just hold out and somebody will call in the bad signal.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
So the next hour, we'll have Eagles tickets to give away. We'll figure out how we'll do that. We're live at 312 Pizza Company today. Stillman and Company, again, the national championship game here at 312 Pizza Company. And 312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville as they specialize in deep dish pizza, thin crust, and all things Chicago style. Plus, it's the perfect spot to catch the championship game tonight. Reaction Mondays, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. Check them out at drinkfocus.com. Time now for a Black Monday edition of Headlines with Caroline.
We're spanning the sports world. It's Headlines with Caroline on Stillman and Company, right here on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Can I just say something that could be used against me if this guy ever wins a Super Bowl, because he's not going to get fired, but I think he's the worst coach in the NFL?
By all means.
Brandon Staley of the Chargers, I think, is the worst coach in the NFL. I did not watch every game that every team played this year. The Chargers were certainly not a team that I watched every game that they played. Mm-hmm. But the two games that I watched in the last month that Brandon Staley coached either of them to win, and he would have, if he had just not done the stupid things, he would have had the Chargers in the playoffs. I don't know how a locker room invests what they invest into a football season and come back and look at that guy in the face and not think that their coach is holding them back. If I owned the Chargers, I would fire him today after one season.
I mean, it's the bad decision-making hiding behind the analytics of it all. Saying, well, the analytics say if you go for it at a 4th and 1 on the goal line, if you run the ball, that's,
he called timeout.
I know, I'm speaking hypothetically, but he called timeout yesterday, and that essentially cost the Chargers their shot at the playoffs. I think everyone on the field, everyone in that stadium yesterday understood that this game was probably going to end in a tie. Let's just call it a tie. Let's just kneel. Except him.
They showed Herbert on the sidelines, and you could literally read his lips. He's like, never have I wanted to tie more badly
I saw
in my
that.
life. Poor Herbert. Herbert had Anthony Lynn, and now he's got this guy, and they're going to ruin him just like Baker Mayfield got ruined. Who got fired today?
Well, yesterday, Vic Fangio out as the Denver Broncos head coach, but today it was like domino after domino was falling. First and foremost, the Chicago Bears fired Matt Nagy and their general manager, Ryan Pace, following their 6-11 season, only 3 years after Matt Nagy won Coach of the Year in 2018.
So here's my thing about Nagy and Pace.
Okay.
And I heard Jimmy Johnson say this today, and I totally believe it. And that is the general manager, or whatever the position is, picking the player person is the most important person in your entire operation. And there's not a close second. You're the guy everybody knows the coach. The guy who makes the pick of Tua over Herbert is the more important person in Miami. And Ryan Pace, and this is what I believe about general managering, which is it's a tough racket because yes, you make a lot of money. Yes, you have a lot of power. But if it doesn't work, you're going to get fired. If you take a gamble in the NFL a sizable gamble, a big-time gamble, and it doesn't work, I think you should be fired. And that's exactly what Ryan Pace did when he moved up in 2017 from 3 to 2 in order to draft Mitch Trubisky out of North Carolina. He passed on Deshaun Watson. He passed on Patrick Mahomes. He passed on those guys. And while I didn't know that Patrick Mahomes was going to be this, that's not my job. Your job as the general manager of the Bears is to go out there and find the best quarterback. And it's not what Mel Kiper Jr. says it is. You have to find the guy that's going to be the best guy. And he didn't do it. And so that one decision, regardless of what you think of Nagy, that one decision was what should have gotten him fired last year. And now this is where you look at the Chicago Bears job and you think this would be a great job for a coach or a great job for a GM. And it's like, is it? You have no first-round pick this year because you traded it for Justin Fields. And there might be some prospective general managers or prospective coaches that don't think Justin Fields is very good. And then I wouldn't want that job if I'm going to be stuck with a second-year Justin Fields. And just like Herbert, getting a new coach. Just like Baker, getting a new coach. Just like all these guys keep moving it around.
Trevor Lawrence.
And Trevor Lawrence. And I think that not understanding why you win and why you lose is the most important part here. With the Bears, everybody wants to crap on Nagy, and I get it. And I have no idea if the guy's a smart football guy or not. But Pace is the bigger story here. He's the bigger story. His investment on Trubisky failed, and that's why he's gone. And that's why he should be gone. Just like Brent Veach and Andy Reid's investment on Patrick Mahomes is going to keep them around for a long time. Who else got fired?
Brian Flores got fired today after 3 seasons with the Dolphins. So their general manager, Chris Grier, will stay. But Brian Flores fired nearly 12 hours after beating the New England Patriots 33-24. But Dolphins owner Stephen Ross said, after evaluating where we are as an organization and what we need going forward to improve, I determined that key dynamics of our football organization weren't functioning at a level I wanted it to be and felt that this decision was in the best interest of the Miami Dolphins. So I interpret that as Brian Flores was
power struggle.
Was in cahoots with someone else or was arguing with somebody else within the organization as to why the Dolphins weren't winning, and the organization sided with whoever Brian Flores was disagreeing with.
Here's the thing about Patriot people, and this happened with Bill Belichick and Bobby Grier, and nobody even knows who Bobby Grier is. And I don't think Bobby Grier is related to Chris Grier, but nobody knows who Bobby Grier is. But Bobby Grier is the one that went to Michigan and sat down with Lloyd Carr, and Lloyd Carr said, Bobby, you have to take my quarterback, Tom Brady. And Bobby said, what do you mean? You don't even play the guy. He's like, Bobby, trust me, you got to take him. And so Belichick ended up being the one that took him. But there was a power struggle there, and there has always been a power struggle with the New England Patriot people. Brian Flores is no different. In fact, there was a power struggle here when Mike Mularkey took over the worst franchise in the NFL and went 9-7, won a playoff game, and still got fired. And apparently this is what happened to Flores. Now, this is the only question I have. Flores has always coached up, in my opinion. Flores has always coached up the Miami Dolphins. The first year they got him, they were supposed to be the worst team in the league. They were tanking. They had sold everything. They got rid of Minka Fitzpatrick in the middle of the season because he didn't want to be there anymore. I mean, they were mailing it in, and they still won 5 games. I thought it was incredible. Last year, they had a rookie quarterback. They weren't supposed to be competing for the playoffs. He had them competing for the playoffs. I thought that was pretty impressive. This year, they won 7 games in a row. They swept the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. I mean, I don't know why the Miami Dolphins think they can do so much better, but this owner has a track record of Adam Gase and just guys who suck. So the only question that I have for the owner of the Dolphins, Stephen Ross, is this. Whose decision was it to take Tua over Herbert? If you let the coach make that pick, and it was Flores' decision to take Tua over Herbert, then you know what? I can understand saying, no, I want the general manager to have more power, and I can't deal with you guys fighting. If it was Grier, which is my assumption, that it was Chris Grier that picked Tua over Herbert, then I'd be firing him before I'd be firing Brian Flores. That being said, Brian Flores is going to get another head coaching job, and he needs to find somebody that he can work with and work with them responsibly, because you're not always going to get your way in the NFL.
Mike Zimmer, also out with the Vikings after 8 seasons. They also fired their general manager, Rick Spielman, also after 8 seasons. The Vikings finished with...
Spielman's been there for 16.
Oh, well, excuse me, 16 years.
But do you know why Spielman got fired?
Why?
The same reason that Ryan Pace got fired. Because they made the NFC title game in 2018 with Case Keenum at quarterback, and they thought, we are a Kirk Cousins away. And they gave Cousins a ridiculous contract, fully guaranteed. I remember sitting there in the studio with Floyd being like, you can't do that. And I was like, I think they think that they're a Cousins away. And Floyd never liked Cousins, but he was like, yeah, but you can't give the quarterback a fully guaranteed contract. You cannot do that. And I was like, even if it's just 3 years, he's like, no, you can't do it. And because they invested in Cousins, they are where they will always be with Kirk Cousins. We talk about Tannehill elevating the Titans in the playoffs. I don't know if Tannehill will or won't. I'm guessing he probably won't. But at least there's like this sense of, hey, Tannehill made the team better as soon as he got there. Cousins, he made them worse. This is who he is. 9-7, 7-9, whatever it is, 9-8, 8-9,
8-9.
Maybe makes the playoffs, maybe doesn't make the playoffs. That's what Cousins is with this team. And it was the choice to invest in Cousins and put yourself in a position to where you can't get out of it and not get another crack at it that cost Rick Spielman his job. And I think with Zimmer, I don't know if Zimmer, certainly they had it had run dry in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Like he had been there long enough, like it was time. I don't know if Zimmer's personality, an old school coach, is going to work like with the new age player. The new, like kind of softer, kind of more entitled, paid more kind of player. I don't know if that's going to work, if Zimmer should get another job somewhere else. Flores will get another job somewhere else.
Yep.
Nagy will, if Bieniemy leaves, probably go be the offensive coordinator at Kansas City again. But I don't know about Zimmer. But it was time. Is that it for the league?
That so far, yes. So 4 coaches out. You got Vic Fangio out, Nagy out, Brian Flores out, and Mike Zimmer all out.
Any playoff coaches on the hot seat? I guess Bisaccia with the Raiders would be. I think Bisaccia has. Now look, I don't cover him. I'm not there every day. I think Bisaccia has earned the job.
Things were looking bleak in Vegas. After everything unfolded, with essentially the black week of, Henry Ruggs and then Gruden, I just thought, okay, this team has gone through so much off the field.
10-7.
10-7, making the playoffs.
I think Rich
he's
Bisaccia,
worth a look.
They're playing hard for him,
I do wonder why, because Vegas has already come out and said that they're not interested in hiring him on full time.
Yes.
Why?
Ian Rappaport said.
Why?
I was listening to like a halftime show of like Monday night, Thursday night, one of those football games, and Ian Rappaport said he told Rich Eisen, he said like, it's gonna. I just all the discussions I've had, I don't think they're interested in keeping Rich Bisaccia. And look, I don't know Rich Bisaccia. I don't know anything about him other than he was like Gruden's right-hand man for years and years and years and years. But they're playing hard for him, and I have to give him that. Mm-hmm. Those are headlines with Caroline on Black Monday, 615-737-1025. We're live out at 312 Pizza Company out here in Germantown. Coming up next, we will get to your top phones on the Titans. Plus, I said I got 3 game balls. I already gave one away to Tannehill. I gave one away to Dontrell Hilliard. I got another game ball that I got to give out. So we'll do that next as well. This is a special game ball that we will give out next here on the program. Focus. Naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. We got 2 focuses here. If you're looking at the stream, we got the peach and we got the blood orange. Focus is a naturally energizing, brain-focusing, taste-tantalizing hydrator that combines simple ingredients to create the perfect guilt-free pick-me-up your body will crave to feel its best. So instead of coffee, which may stain your teeth or give you bad breath, or some of these naturally, these non-naturally caffeinated energy drinks, look at the studies. They're bad for your heart. This is natural tea caffeine, and it is right for you. Focus. Give it a try. They're at your local Publix. So now just go into a Publix, grab some Focus, or better yet, you can do what I love to do, which is go to DrinkFocus, PHOCUS, drinkfocus.com, enter promo code GAME at checkout. You'll get 15% off your first order. You can see all their flavors and have them delivered right to your door. Make this your new morning coffee, your new morning energy drink, your new morning, that artificial soda. Get that out. Put in naturally caffeinated Focus. DrinkFocus, PHOCUS.com, promo code GAME.
The voice of reason.
If I'm the official, I would send both teams to the locker room and say, this is going to stop.
The voice of the fan.
Our entire team's a mash unit right now.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Check out the January clearance sale going on now at Social Furniture. You can save up to 70% off Ashley Furniture. Come first for the best selection of furniture before it's gone, and you don't want to miss out. Social Furniture has truckloads of the best selection of furniture. Get your nightstands, mattresses, bar stools, sofas, and recliners all on sale now with no waiting. You can take home your new furniture today. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue or on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
When Nashville is in need for tire sales or service for their business, the Tire Man has been there for over 20 years to help. The Tire Man repairs new and used tires for construction equipment, dump trucks, 18-wheelers, box trucks, fleets, plus they sell new tires for vehicles of all sizes. When your company needs tires, call the Tire Man, 615-663-6040, where they come to you, fully licensed and insured, and they can't wait to work with you. That's the Tire Man at 615-663-6040.
Since their doors opened in 1898 in England, Arkansas, Bank of England Mortgage has been providing down-home exceptional service. Bank of England's success is due to the talent of their loan officers and their access to hundreds of mortgage products at the industry's best pricing. Bank of England Mortgage has 3 Middle Tennessee locations ready to serve you. Go to BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live today at 312 Pizza Company here in Germantown for the National Championship game. A lot of National Championship game talk we got to get into later today, as well as betting it with Caroline's. But we are here today. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. Drink Focus, PHOCUS.com. So yesterday, the Titans claimed the number 1 seed in the AFC for the first time since 2008, and it is the 3rd time overall that the Titans and Oilers franchise has held the number 1 seed in the conference. And it's funny because, Caroline, you may be too young for the NFL yearbook, but that used to always be like a big deal when I was a kid. You know, they would have the highlight videos of each year, NFL yearbook. And during the summer, ESPN would just show these NFL yearbooks on a loop. So it was like, at 2 o'clock, it'll be the Jets. At 3 o'clock, it'll be the Patriots. At 4 o'clock, it'll be the Cowboys. At 6 o'clock. And somewhere around like 2 or 3 in the morning, they would have on like the Houston or the Tennessee Oilers, year highlights. And I remember the 2000 Titans highlights. And when the Titans beat the Cowboys 31-0 in order to get the number 1 seed, it was a Christmas Day game. Jeff Fisher on the highlight video in the locker room after the game had a game ball, and he put it up in the air and said, for the first time in this franchise's history, Mr. Adams, number 1 seed, and threw a game ball to Bud Adams. And of course, everybody got up and cheered because the guy who's checks gets up there and gets it, everybody's going to make sure to clap. So I actually asked the Titans today. I reached out. I said, hey, did Mike give Amy a game ball after the game was over in the locker room, and I couldn't get it confirmed if they did or didn't. But I want to give Amy Adams Strunk a game ball today because I saw something interesting. We were talking about coaches that got fired. And Mike Lombardi, former general manager in the NFL, and he said sometimes teams fire their coaches and they don't know why they win or why they lose. And I think fan bases are kind of that way too. And so sometimes I think people don't understand why the Titans are where they are. And I would just ask it to you like this, right? If you took over a franchise, and when you are the owner, you are taking over the franchise, regardless of how much you're hands-on or hands-off. When you buy the club, you're in charge. Amy Adams Strunk inherited her share of the Titans, a third of the organization. Her sister's husband, Tommy Smith, who had worked in the front office, Tommy Smith, when Bud Adams died, was given the franchise, basically to run. And it was terrible. Hires Ken Wisenhunt. There's a big power struggle between Wisenhunt and Rustin Webster. The team is terrible. 1 year of Tommy Smith, and they got him out of there. And Amy took over, and the NFL didn't like it. The NFL said, hey, somebody's got to have the majority ownership here. And the Titans brought Steve Underwood, a lawyer, back in to kind of set everything up and set it right or whatever, and they made Amy Adams Strunk the controlling owner. And that 2015 year, they were the worst team in the NFL. And I took every call, and fans wanted them to sell the team, sell it to Peyton Manning, get rid of the organization, sell the Titans. And we talked about that like every day. And you never heard much from Amy. But Corey Curtis kind of clued me in. And he was like, it's different with Amy in charge. And 2 months into the year, Ken Wisenhunt, in the second year of a 5-year contract that paid him $5 million a year, got fired because they couldn't deal with him anymore. It was too much. He's got to go. He's got to go. So they fired him, which was kind of shocking because everybody who had covered the Titans up until then thought the Titans were too cheap of an organization to be able to pay out that kind of money for something. They did it. Amy was willing to do it. They go searching for a general manager. Steve Underwood's in charge of it. Amy owns the team. They called Floyd. Floyd got them John Robinson. Those are smart decisions that are made by smart people. They brought in Mike Vrabel. You all love Mike Vrabel. You want to campaign for Vrabel for Coach of the Year. You guys love him. That move has worked out. They made tough decisions. They moved on from Mariota. They moved on from DeMarco Murray. They moved on from fan favorites, Jarrell Casey, things like that are not easy for an owner to do. And so I just look at it like this. When Amy Adams Strunk inherited the Titans, or when she took over in a management role, one that Floyd was stunned. And I don't know Amy that well. I know her. I don't know her that well. Floyd obviously knew her pretty well because he used to run the team and her dad owned it, and they were obviously very, very close. And Floyd was like, I could never imagine Amy running an NFL team. And he was just thrilled with how she was doing it. And so when I see you take over a team at 2-14, and there's no fans in the stands, and there's ticket scandals and all kinds of stuff, and now you're the number one seed in the AFC. You've been to the playoffs for the last 5 years. You've had 6 straight winning seasons. You got to think about why you win. And Amy Adams Strunk is a big part of it. And I have never been told by anybody that you have to say a positive word about the owner. Nobody has said something. When we've criticized them at the highest level, I never get calls that say Amy Adams Strunk's mad or Amy Adams Strunk. I don't ever hear any of that. I don't think she cares. But then when you talk to her, and I do talk to her every now and then, I can tell how much she cares about the fans and how much she cares about putting a winner out there and how much she cares at the game. When they inducted Floyd into the Ring of Honor, I was up there in the suite with the Reese family. They came in the second half, and when things didn't go well, she was not happy now. You know, she cares about this team and this organization. She cares about you, all the fans. And we were talking about this yesterday during the pregame show. And I thought it was really interesting. Chris Sanders, former player. You know, Chris was here for the glory days of the Steve McNair, Eddie George Titans. Listen to him talk about Amy Adams Strunk yesterday as she has managed this franchise. Take a listen.
and I really respect her for doing this, is because the relationship that we had, the organization of former players, it was like a disconnect.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a total disconnect. I mean, you have guys that didn't want to come back for homecoming because they were so a disconnect. But
Chris Hope showing up for games as a Titans alum, and he's more welcome in the Steelers locker room.
That's what I'm saying.
Than he was the Titans
100%,
locker room.
and it's gotten better. I mean, not just in my era, but you have guys that play for the Houston Oilers, the same team, but she brought those guys in and then had things in Houston. It just shows you that she doesn't just care about the players now, but she cares about the former players and the former players before me. Great job, Ms. Shrunk.
Mark Howard's covered this team doing the pregame show with us since the day they moved here. Here's what Mark Howard said about Amy Adams-Strunk's impact.
Well, I think that Amy, in a lot of ways, reflects how the rest of the league looks at the Titans, and that is underestimated because she doesn't want to, have her face in the media. She's not like Jerry Jones, where she wants to be the face of the franchise, but she has built infrastructure, within the organization, hiring a lot of people. She hasn't been like her dad. She has poured money, back into the franchise, renovating the facility. But again, there are so many more people there, because Amy wants this franchise run right. Mm-hmm. And quietly, she has become a force in the league. And again, a lot of people said, there's a woman taking over the Titans. Well, you know what? It's a very capable woman. And
Absolutely.
To me,
Absolutely.
she's had a pretty good batting average since she's got here.
Titans are the number one team in the AFC. When she took over the job, as I said, they were tied with Tampa Bay for the worst team in the NFL. It can't be, she hired a good president in Steve Underwood because they're on their second president, Burke Nihill. It can't be, she got lucky with a draft pick because the best draft pick that they've made since she's been the owner was hurt for half the season. It can't be, she got lucky with a coach because she's had two. And they haven't had a losing season. And they've gotten better and better and better. And not everything's gone their way. But just the Amy that I know, and again, I don't know her very well, just very briefly. I know bad ownership. I know good ownership. I know how sports teams should be run. And I don't know if Vrabel gave her a game ball yesterday, but he should have. If he did, great. If he didn't, he should have, because everything that every Titan fan's excited about now, playoff tickets, people want to go. People want to go. They want tickets. They got to. I've had games where I'm like, hey, anybody want to go game? Anybody want to go? It's different now. And so we give out game balls on this show. Tannehill got one. Dontrell Hilliard got one. But the big one, Amy Adams-Strunk gets a game ball for, again, the first time in her tenure as owner of the Titans. They have the number one seed in the AFC. Bud Adams started the franchise in 1960, okay? They were never the number one seed in the AFC until 2000. So it took him 40 years to get the number one seed. It took her 6. I think that's pretty impressive. Let's go to your phone. 615-737-1025. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And I'm just going to say this. And I said this on the pregame show yesterday, but I want the fans to hear this. This is the kind of person Amy Adams-Strunk is. The Titans, when it came to their Ring of Honor and their Hall of Fame, it was important to her. But the signage of the way that it was, and Paul Kaharski used to just rip the Titans about this all the time, but the signage at the stadium was not great. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't want to do a lot to that Ring of Honor or Hall of Fame until they got better signage and like a better way to kind of, illustrate the players that they thought were great players in their organization. And so when Amy Adams-Strunk found out that Floyd was sick, which was very much a secret, and he would have kicked any of our rear ends if he had known that somebody was saying something, whatever. He didn't want anybody knowing. He didn't want anybody to say anything. He didn't want anything. He didn't even want me to know. When Amy Adams-Strunk found out that he was sick, she made sure that he was in that Ring of Honor, and she made sure that he knew. And so in the last month of his life, he didn't talk to anybody. He didn't take phone calls. He didn't return text messages. He didn't return text messages to Belichick and Saban. But when Amy Adams Strunk called, he answered the phone. And she told him he was going in the Ring of Honor. And whenever you get mad at the Titans, because right now it's easy to like the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're the number one team in the AFC. But there's going to be a point in time where things aren't good. But when that comes, just remember who you have that owns this team and how much she cares about the things that actually matter. And she cares about the fans. And she cares about the stadium. And she cares about those things. And you heard Chris Sanders talk about the former players, and she cares about it. You got people that are like, this is stupid to have a Houston Oilers weekend. She wants them to know that they've got a franchise that cares about them, even if they're not in Houston anymore. And so I think that, like, that's something that is important to me to highlight when you have this kind of platform. And, again, it's easy to like the Titans today because they're winning. But this is what Amy Adams Strunk is about. And I have been impressed. You heard Chris is impressed. Mark is impressed. Talked to Corey Curtis. And it's not about sucking up to the owner. It's not about liking the owner. It's not about being friends with the owner, because I don't really even consider myself friends with the owner. But just telling you, the Titans have good ownership. And, you know, the Predators had horrible ownership for a while. They got good ownership, and boom, things turned around. The Bridgestone experience was better. The team was in the Cup final. This is what's happened with the Titans. And I don't think it's an accident right now that you've got one of the best hockey teams and one of the best football teams. I see your phones. I wanted to go to them sooner. We'll go right to them next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We're live at 312 Pizza Company today on a Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus, naturally caffeinated sparkling water with a spark. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. We're streaming on the Game Nashville app.
Guys on threes, 1, 2, 3. A.J. Brown. Westbrook Akita, touchdown. First down, and that should do it.
The Titans are the number one seed in the AFC.
A hell of a job. Came up with some huge plays.
Heading into the playoffs after beating the Texans 28-25 in Houston.
We found a way to make plays, and that's why I'm proud of our guys.
With home field throughout the playoffs, who will the Titans face in the divisional round?
If everything holds, it's going to be the winner of Bengals-Raiders.
Keep it locked for the best Titans talk.
It's going to be a heck of a ride here.
On ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
I stay very active. For my 40th birthday, I ran a 50-mile race, and to train for that, I was running about 70 miles a week. But over the years, that's deteriorated to a point where even running a mile, my knee would swell, and the pain that I would have would sideline me for several days.
That's Shane Mosney's story that led him to QC Kinetics.
I elected to choose a combination regenerative therapy that helps my knee regenerate to a point where I'm able to get out and start running again. But more importantly, I left there with a lot of hope.
QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments boost your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged tissue with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery.
Those guys have given me back a part of my life that was deteriorating. I just ran my first 10K since my therapy, so I'm trying to pick a good half marathon to run, but my goal is to run another marathon, yes.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4224. QC Kinetics, 249-4024.
Yo, this is Justin from Music City Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage apparel and shoe needs. We've partnered with 102.5 The Game to provide you all with an exclusive discount today. Come to our shop today, located in East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, and say The Game at checkout and get 10% off your entire order. If you're unable to make it in, we got something for you as well. All of our products in store are also available on our website at musiccityvtg.com. Just use promo code GAME at checkout and get 10% off your order.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The WAVE technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
And not knowing who you're going to play, Mike, until another week away, what can you do as far as advanced work to kind of put yourself in the best position to kind of hit the ground running when you do know who you're going to play?
Well, we've played everybody but the Bengals and the Raiders, so probably get some advanced work done on them, and continue to focus on us and what we have to do better and how we have to play better, and try to find ways to coach better and get healthy and continue to work on things that we think are important to help you win.
There you go. That was Vrabel talking today about what's he going to do during the bye week. I think he's going to get ready for the Bengals. That's what he's going to do. I think it's either going to be the Bengals or the Patriots. I think those are the two teams you're most likely to play. The Bengals or the Well, I guess the Bengals or the Raiders, because if the Raiders beat the Bengals,
that's who you'd see as the lowest seed.
Well, no, because the Patriots are lower than the Raiders. The Patriots are 6.
And what seed are the Raiders?
The Raiders are 5.
Oh, okay. Well, then
so
it
you
would be
could
the
play
Patriots.
right. So you could play anybody. You could play anyone from the Bengals to the Steelers. So if the Steelers beat the Chiefs, you play the Steelers. If the Chiefs win and the Patriots beat the Bills, you play the Patriots. If the Chiefs and the Bills win, then you play the winner of Raiders and Bengals. So I think Vrabel's probably going to look at it like that. Let's go to your phones as promised. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We're live at 312 Pizza Company. Ray has been waiting patiently and is up next on Ryan Tannehill. Thank you for calling the show. Go ahead, Ray.
Best show on air, Jared, as always.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys so much.
Sure, thank you.
Everything you said about Miss Amy is so true, and let me say this about her. I remember when she first took over and everybody was talking about a woman taking over the Titans. Thank God a woman did. That woman, not just any woman. This woman is the daughter of Mr. Bud Adams. I mean, she's been around football her whole life, and here's where she was smart and very wise. She went and got good advice from people all around her, and when she got that advice together, she thought, you know what? I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, but I'm going to go try to get a hold of the wheel that works best in this league for the past, umpteen years in New England, let's say. And I'm proud to say that the GM for Brady's and Belichick's and that ownership and that organization, their first few Super Bowls come from a guy that is from Union City, Tennessee, who she went and got from them, brought him back to Tennessee, and it started with the GM, and she knew that. Not only did it start with the GM, she knew the second most important spoke would be the coach. And the third would be the quarterback, because the quarterback is the one who touches the ball first. He's the one that has to make up for everybody reading a defense that makes a mistake. He's the one that takes the blame every time he throws an interception when the receiver misread the defense, and especially if they're backups and they don't run the right route. He don't point fingers. He's a real winner. He's got a Brady mindset to him, and that's the only kind of quarterback they would have taken, and he was right there in Miami. What did he do in Miami? He didn't have the organization around him. He did not have the ownership around him. What did Miss Amy do? She went and got both, all three spokes that start the wheel out to be truly balanced. put them in place, and then all the spokes around them, including a good defense. And, man,
So,
I can't speak enough for that woman.
I
awesome.
appreciate your call, and I do give. I mean, I just spent 20 minutes giving Amy Adams-Strunk a bunch of credit. I mean, I don't think that Amy doesn't involve herself on the level of finding the quarterback. It wasn't Amy's decision to trade a 4th-round pick to the Dolphins for a backup. She didn't do that. But I do think what she did do, what is kind of her jurisdiction was, I mean, like, obviously I'm biased, but they listened to Floyd. They knew that what they were doing in the football department was not working. That it was not working of Tommy Smith, who had spent time, in Houston, but also here working for the organization as a vice president. Tommy Smith didn't have a clue. And so they went out and got Steve Underwood, and they asked Floyd who to hire. And he told them John Robinson. And that, I think, I'm not going to say that was the extent of it with her, but at that point, she went and let John do his job. And I'm sure she was involved in whatever went down between Mike Mularkey and John Robinson, and I'm sure that wasn't very comfortable for her because I know she really liked Mike Mularkey. But, that was what she did. Let's not forget some of the other things. The draft, the things that, the NFL-related issues, they have certainly – you heard Mark Howard in the clip we played say that she's really become kind of a force inside the league. Joe is up next on the Titans and the win yesterday. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Jared. Thanks for taking my call, brother.
Sure.
Man, I'll just be real quick. I just can't believe it how well the Titans done under her ownership. And here's one thing you can say is that she really has allowed John Robinson to do his job, and just she played GM. I mean, she played owner and let John Robinson play GM. And I think at the end of the day, that's just what you got to do. And then here's something to think about, though, Jared. Think about this, brother. Come playoff time, game 1, we're going to be full strength with Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones. Who's going to stop us, baby? Tell me who's going to stop us. Y'all have a good one, baby. Tighten up.
Thank you, Joe. I think the Titans are going to be in the best spot they could possibly be in. They're going to be incredibly healthy. They got some catches for Julio Jones yesterday, which I think was a good sign. Anthony Ferkser might actually not just be a complete and total stiff, which would be a nice, step in the right direction. Again, defense, they feel rather, knock on wood, injury-free. I think they can lose to all 6 AFC playoff teams.
But I also think that they could beat.
Sure, but he's like, who's going to stop us? Like, the Titans are so good, nobody's going to stop them. Nobody's going to get in the way.
Texans almost stopped you in the second half yesterday.
I think this year, what the NFL wants is parity. They want the difference between the best team and the worst team to be an eyelash, and that's what it is. And so I don't think the Titans have any room. And you just brought up yesterday. Yesterday is a great point. I don't think the Titans have any room to get cocky. And that is the biggest thing. You all want to pump Vrabel's tires? Knock yourself out. To me, that's the biggest key the whole rest of the way is can Vrabel keep them focused and get the best football out of them for 3 more games. Charlie is up next on Brandon Staley and the Chargers and has been waiting patiently. Go ahead, Charlie.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, buddy. I really enjoyed your comments about that lady.
Sure.
She is awesome, and I think it's direct correlation how well they're doing now is how she handles everything. But the coach for the Chargers, he back when the Seahawks and the Patriots are playing the game, and the cornerback intercepted the ball at the very end. Just got fired by the Dolphins today. He's like, "Hey, coach, the clock's still running." He goes, I got it. He was cool as a cucumber. He said, "I'm not going to let them off the hook," because he could tell they were out of sorts.
Sure.
That guy, that analytics guy for the Chargers, that's what he is. He's an analytics guy. He's sitting over there. He called timeout and saved them, man. The daggum Las Vegas Raiders were going to let the daggum clock run out and take a tie. Yeah, the coach said it today. He not so many words, but he said There's
No,
like, were you
Bisaccia
thinking
admitted
about,
it.
you know,
Bisaccia said, we talked on the sideline about
Yes.
that situation, and then they called timeout, and we popped the run. And this is no different, Charlie, and I appreciate your call, and you're spot on. This is no different than at the end of a half. Team gets the ball back with a minute 31 on the clock. Go into halftime. Titans do this all the time. You hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. Derrick gets 3. Okay? Next play, take a knee, in the locker room, on to halftime. Derrick gets 26 on that first carry.
It's a different ball game.
Timeout. Now let's get into the 2-minute. Now let's try to get a field goal. Now let's try to get set up. The Raiders were running the ball, but they were looking at it. The one thing the Raiders were not going to do was they were not going to give the ball back to the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, they were not giving the ball back to the Chargers. And everybody could probably realize that. Like, everybody could sit there and say, oh, my God, they're not going to give the ball back to the Chargers. And what Staley couldn't realize is they're running the ball, and he was so afraid of them popping a big run that he wanted to get his defensive personnel in there, and so he called the timeout. And once he called the timeout, the Raiders were like, well, we're going to have to run it again, and they ended up running it into field goal range. I mean, it was truly a lack of feel for the game. And I feel bad for Brandon Staley because I understand what he was thinking. He just thought something stupid. He just was worried about the defensive personnel that was on the field. And there's just certain times that you can't take that timeout no matter what. And he went and did. He took the timeout. And I got to tell you, they did something yesterday on the broadcast that I thought was kind of bullcrap. And when he went for it on the 4th and 2 at his own 19 and he didn't get it and essentially gave the Raiders 3 free points. And they criticized him for doing it, which was the right thing. And then they talked on TV and they put up a graphic like the Amazon Analytics Stat.com. And it was like if they had gotten it, it would have raised their odds of winning from 35% to 45%. If they hadn't gotten it, it lowered it to 26%. And if they punted, it would have stayed 35%. And I was listening to Jimmy Johnson talk today, and Jimmy Johnson was like, even if you get that first down, what are the odds of you not having to punt later in that drive? And usually they're pretty good. It's like Floyd would say, you see a pass early in the game you think it's a catch, and the player's like, throw the flag, throw the flag, throw the flag. And even if you think he might have caught it, you have to think to yourself, how big is this play worth challenging? Because I might need this challenge later at the end of the game. And I just think they totally screwed. I mean, I just think Staley, I think he can't get out of his own way. He cost him that Chargers game. He cost him this game. And I didn't watch any other, or he cost him the Chiefs game on Thursday Night Football. He cost him this game. I didn't watch any other game they played this year. I'm sure he screwed up other games this year.
And that's the thing with Brandon Staley is that was such a bad decision with such high stakes. That was a decision that cost the Chargers the playoffs. So that independently is a very bad move.
How can those players look that coach in the face?
But that is just one of a series of bad decisions that Brandon Staley has made so far this season.
How can those players
Bonehead
look
decisions.
at him in the locker room during a team meeting and not think, you totally screwed us, coach? And you can't have that. Once the players think, hey, you ruined it, that's it. And I'll tell you, if I own the Chargers, I'd fire him. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. So I am not willing. This may be groupthink. This may be generic. I made a mistake. I made a mistake earlier this year. I am not making it tonight for the national championship game. We will get to that next. 615-737-1025. We are live at 312 Pizza Company in Germantown, where they'll be giving away Dirk's Bentley tickets tonight. So be here for the national championship game. They got Chicago-style pizza and pizza by the slice until 3 o'clock. So for a lunch spot, not a bad idea. 312 Pizza Company coming out to win those tickets. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. They take great care of my home. You see that Hiller logo right there on the ice at Preds games. They're proud supporters of the Preds, proud supporters of the Vols, proud supporters of Vanderbilt, and they will take great care of your home, and I can promise you that because they take great care of my home. To help customers tackle necessary replacements, Hiller is extending their lower 2021 pricing through the end of January. This is the lowest pricing expected all year. You notice all the inventory shortages and empty shelves, and now there are serious shortages on equipments and products for your home. HVAC systems, tankless water heaters, and generators are going to be extremely limited in 2022, and because of supply chain issues and rising costs of parts, manufacturers are rapidly increasing the price of this equipment. If you need a replacement, call my friends at Hiller today. Don't wait until you're out of options. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services free guarantee, and you can learn more at happyhiller.com. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, my guys. Call the Happy Face truck today.
Hi, I'm Jussi Saros. And this is Smashville.
Now here's a try off to the side. What a stop made by Jussi Saros there.
Unreal. You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
The Eagles Hotel California Tour.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
Live in concert with a full orchestra.
Take it.
Performing their iconic album Hotel California, beginning to end, plus a greatest hits set. The Eagles, Bridgestone Arena, April 28th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at LiveNation.com.
Your home value is way up. Why not use that equity to make your house even nicer for the new year? Hey, Willie Donick here talking about a cash-out refi with Loan Pronto. So call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the new year, and people are getting checks for $60, $70, $100 or more. And right now, Loan Pronto can even cover all your closing costs. Listen, your home's value is way up. All you have to do is convert that equity into cash. Cash for a new luxurious kitchen or a new home office, or start that swimming pool so you can use it for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. You can even close in as little as 2 weeks with a big check. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. So make 2022 the year you fix up your home and reinvest with Loan Pronto's help. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Well, from my standpoint, I think University of Georgia, Kirby's program is probably one of the elite programs, in the country. He's done an outstanding job there of making that program what it is, and obviously, the players and people that are in the organization have made that program what it is, and we certainly feel like, this is, the best team in the country that we have an opportunity to play, the most consistent team all season long in terms of how they played. And it's a tremendous challenge for us and really kind of an honor to have the opportunity to play.
That was Nick Saban as they get ready 1 hour and 35 minutes away from the national championship game. Alabama and Georgia. And let me say something right here, right now. Right now, Georgia is favored by 2.5, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Georgia is favored by 2.5. All season long, I thought the Georgia Bulldogs had the best team in college football. All season long, I saw Alabama play a lot of these games and not look very impressive. And I remember saying and thinking, like, doesn't Alabama kind of stink by Alabama standards? I remember when they played Tennessee, and Greg McElroy was just crying on the TV broadcast about they're not getting lined up right, and they're letting guys, they're busting coverages, and how could they, and this and that. And I watched the Auburn game, and I thought to myself that if Auburn could just tip one more pass or just get one more first down, Alabama wouldn't even be here tonight. And by Alabama standards, I mean, if you're not the best or obviously the best, then you're not doing good enough. And I was like, this isn't right. They played in the SEC championship game. I had watched Georgia kill everybody. And then I watched Alabama get by, barely beat LSU, who was no good this year, lost to Texas A&M, and I thought...
Barely beat Auburn.
I thought Alabama was kind of an average team with a decent quarterback, and that, not saying Nick was losing it, but I just felt like for Nick, this just didn't look like a Nick team. And I love Nick, and I consider Nick a friend. I don't know if he considers me a friend, but I consider him a friend. And I bet against him. And I picked Georgia. And I just thought Georgia had too many good players. And I just felt like it was just too obvious that Georgia was going to win that SEC championship game, that Georgia was going to push Alabama back, that Georgia was going to run the ball all over them, and that that Georgia defense was so good that they were going to suffocate Alabama. And it took me about 20 minutes of watching the SEC championship game to think, I'm so stupid for betting against Nick Saban. So stupid. Just no way you can bet against Nick Saban. And not only that, Kirby is so flummoxed by Saban. It's so obvious. So Georgia might win tonight. They're favored to win tonight, but you won't find me picking Georgia because I am not betting against the greatest coach in the history of college football. Alabama has a better quarterback than Georgia, and you may call it a total flip-flop. I said earlier this year, I said, if you want to give me Georgia or the field, I'll take Georgia. And I watched what Alabama did to them in the first game. Now, again, we've learned this. The NFL is a perfect example of this. Just because one team dominates the first game doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to for sure dominate the second game. But I can't bet against Nick Saban. Not at this stage. And I know he got housed by Clemson a couple years ago, got spanked by Joe Burrow and LSU. But there was something about Joe Burrow, not so much Ed Orgeron and the rest of it, but there was something about Joe Burrow where he doesn't care. Nick Saban does not bother. Joe Burrow is as cool as a cucumber. Mm-hmm. That doesn't bother him. It clearly bothers Kirby, and it clearly bothers those Georgia players, and I think they feed off of Kirby and the fact that he melts when in the presence of Saban. He blew the first national title game. He blew the SEC title game when they tried that fake punt with Justin Fields, and Jalen Hurts came off the bench and beat Georgia. And he melted this year in the SEC title game. I cannot touch Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. And they were more impressive against Michigan than Alabama was against Cincinnati. And I think Michigan's probably better than Cincinnati. And I still can't take Kirby Smart. I refuse to go against Nick Saban in this game tonight.
Well, throwback to the SEC championship. And that morning when I was making my picks on Southeastern Carolines, I said, don't overthink this one. Don't get cute with it. Georgia has been the better team all season long. If there was one theme throughout the entire regular season of college football, it was Georgia was the best team in the country. And it came down to about an hour before kickoff, and I thought, Alabama's going to win this game.
You thought 20 minutes before kickoff?
Before kickoff. I thought Alabama's going to win this game, and I even tweeted out, I was like, Nick Saban's going to upset Georgia today, aren't they? And that's exactly what happened, and I am with you. That's what I learned my lesson picking against Nick Saban. This Alabama team did not look very good this season. I mean, in the first half, in the first three quarters against Tennessee looked like the better team. I mean, LSU was 8 yards away from beating Alabama. Texas A&M did beat Alabama, and we learned later on in the season that Texas A&M wasn't very good.
No.
They went to 3 overtimes with Auburn, a team that also wasn't very good. But if there's anything that those 4 games have in common that I used against Nick Saban, I'll use it in favor of Nick Saban because he always finds a way to win. Not Texas A&M, but he'll find a way to win.
Georgia kicked a field goal. First SEC title game. Punt. Georgia kicks a field goal. They're up 3-0. 8 plays, Alabama punts. Georgia scores up 10-0. At that point, I'm like, if Alabama doesn't get control of this game, it's going to get blown out of proportion, and they are going to be absolutely and totally porked. What's Alabama do? Touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown. And once I saw the second touchdown, I go, Saban's got him. And you could see Kirby melt once that second touchdown happened. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, man, they might blow Alabama out. And then all of a sudden, Alabama, touchdown, and Kirby's like, oh no, here it goes again. Oh no. And I don't think you can win when you feel that way internally against Nick Saban. And I think there's another thing about Nick Saban is 2-0 when facing a team for the second time in a season in his career. He never loses to his assistants. I think there is something about Nick Saban with the chess pieces where he knows what Kirby's going to try to do. What you've got to do in order to beat Nick Saban is you've got to have the player. You got to have the quarterback who can beat him. You can't beat him as a coach. So you have to have Trevor Lawrence, or you have to have Deshaun Watson or Joe Burrow, or you got to have somebody like that. And I'm sorry, I know Stetson Bennett played well against Michigan in the semifinal, and I was stunned by it, but he ain't Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, or Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he ain't any of those guys. And the guy Alabama has might be one of those guys. And so, I mean, Georgia, if it was anybody else, if you switch coaches, Georgia. But I'm not betting against Saban. I don't think you can bet against Saban. If you bet for Georgia, and Georgia might win tonight. I'm not saying Georgia's going to lose.
I mean, Georgia, I do think, has the better team.
They're favored to win, but if you bet Georgia today, if you lose, do not feel sorry for yourself today if you bet against Nick Saban and you lose because of it. Do not think anybody, absolutely not. There is no way and no how. No way and no how.
I mean, Nick Saban has 7 national championships, and that's not by accident. Nick Saban has lost 2 national championships, both to Clemson. Now, Nick Saban does not lose on this stage. Nick Saban knows when there are big games at stake. What did they do when they needed to beat Auburn? They beat Auburn.
Well, that was the Lord bless them.
Yeah, by the skin of their teeth, but they did it. And what did they do against Georgia on the big stage in the SEC championship? They blew Georgia out of the water.
We'll do Caroline's next. But first, I want to give away a pair of tickets to see the Eagles. And you can see the Eagles perform their iconic Hotel California album in its entirety at Bridgestone Arena on April 28th. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Here's the trivia question. And I think somebody will get this, but be the first person to have this answer. Call 615-737-1025. But you got to wait for me to give the trivia question. Nick Saban and Floyd Reese coached together on the Houston Oilers. Nick was a secondary coach. Floyd was a linebacker coach. There's a story that a very odd Houston Oiler coach got an entire fan base all worked up. And so the Oiler coaches had to wear bulletproof vests on the sidelines because there were death threats taken out against this coach. And it was a playoff game. The coach was Jerry Glanville, and he worked up the other team's fans. What were the fans that Jerry Glanville worked up? And the one hint I will give you is he bit a dog biscuit on television. Saban and Floyd had to wear bulletproof vests that day. What was that team? Be the first one to call on 615-737-1025. You're going to the Eagles. Caroline, tell us about Caesars.
It's time for the Caroline Fenton Caesars Sportsbook Report, people. So first of all, download the Caesars Sportsbook app. They will match your first bet with a free bet up to $1,001. Win or lose, just use promo code RADIORF. That is Radio RF. And what better to put money on than the national championship game tonight? The spread is currently 2.5. I'm taking Alabama plus 2.5 for 2 reasons. Better coach. I mean, we've said Georgia has been the most consistent team in college football so far this year, but what's even more consistent than that is Nick Saban. They've also got a better quarterback. Bryce Young has the shortest memory of any quarterback I've seen in quite some time. If he makes a mistake one play, next play he is back at it. So I'm going to take Alabama plus 2.5. Better coach, better quarterback. But do it yourself. Bet it yourself and do it with the Caesars Sportsbook. Caesars Sportsbook, download it, people. Must be 21. Offer valid in Tennessee only. New users and first qualifying wager only. Paid in bet credit. Credit must be used within 7 days of receipt. See CaesarsSportsbook.com/promos for full terms. Void where prohibited. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Mainly clear skies as we head into the evening hours. That's going to make it quite cold tonight as temperatures drop to the low 20s, up to the low 40s for Tuesday. Looking at mainly sunny to partly cloudy skies. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. With Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, get a unit that lasts with their 10-year parts and labor warranty. Get ahead of the game now and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no interest financing and 10 years parts and labor warranty on all new units. Restrictions apply and not available on all equipment. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
312 Pizza Company is family owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. Always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open every day except for Tuesdays and is located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Darren McFarland.
That should get you in the mood for a game tonight.
Willie Donick.
I think between 5.5 and 6 is probably in the ballpark.
Chase McCabe.
Typically, I like to take the most difficult task and do it first.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company, we are live at 312 Pizza Company. Thanks for having us here. Perfect spot to watch the national championship game, which kicks off in about an hour and some change. They've got three $50 312 Pizza Company gift cards to give away via Enter to Win and a contest along with Dirk's Bentley tickets. You must be on site here at 312 Pizza Company in order to win. 312 Pizza Company happy hours from 2 to 6, where you get 2-for-1 draft beers all happy hour long. That means 2-for-1 draft beers during the day. Stop by 312 Pizza Company for Nashville's best sports talk and 2-for-1 drafts leading into the big game tonight. Of course, that is coming up in a little bit over an hour. We will have the coverage, ESPN Radio. Our buddy Trevor Maddich is lined up and ready to go as part of the ESPN College Game Day on the radio, their championship pregame show. And then Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and that crew will have the call following us. It is time now to dive into the sports books on tonight's game. It's time for Caroline's.
Get in on the action. Put the money on the mahogany. What's on tap on the sports books? It's time to break it all down with Caroline's. Here on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There's not a lot of excitement for this because we did both pick Alabama. But let me just state here, I'm getting 2.5, and I got Nick Saban. Alabama.
I feel like any opportunity when you can be gifted, Alabama being an underdog and getting that hook at least, you have to take it. Because I made that mistake in the SEC championship game, and I feel like a lot of people made that same mistake. And after it was all said and done, a lot of people said, well, that was silly of me to ever doubt Nick Saban. So don't make that same mistake again. Because I do think this is going to be a completely different looking game than the SEC championship. I think a lot lower scoring. I believe the over-under is at 51.5. I would take the under on that. But, I mean, still, Alabama always finds a way to win. They have a better quarterback. Give me Bryce Young over Stetson Bennett. They have a better coach. All day give me Nick Saban over Kirby Smart. This Georgia team is incredibly talented. And this Georgia team has shown us all season that they have a ton of talent and they can win the big games. It's just when it comes down to beating Alabama on the national championship stage, it's going to be incredibly difficult, and I don't think that Stetson Bennett is the kind of guy that can pull them out of this game if they get into a hole.
Here's the thing. I think it's going to be a blowout either way tonight. I'm taking Alabama, but I think the only way Georgia can beat Alabama is if they just absolutely sock them.
And they have to do it early.
They not only have to do it early, they have to do it early and then do it to start the second half. I mean, they have to put it on them like Clemson did a couple of years ago. I think Alabama can win a close game, but I think Alabama's going to blow them out. I'll go Alabama 35-10. I just don't think Stetson Bennett's going to be able to do anything offensively against Alabama. I think Nick's played that card, and I think he's ready to play it again, putting the game in Bennett's hands. And his defense and his offense just a little bit better than Michigan. I'll go Alabama 35-10. What's your final score?
I'm going to say 24-10, Alabama. I mean, that Georgia defense is still one of the best defenses I've seen in quite some time.
They put 40 on them the first game.
I know.
You start blitzing that quarterback, Bill O'Brien, I don't know. That's going to do it for us. We are out of here. Again, Trevor Maddich is getting ready. Kevin Winter is in the studio with Trevor Maddich. They will get you set for the national championship game. And then, of course, right here on ESPN 102.5, the game at 7, you've got kickoff with Sean McDonough and Todd Blackledge. Thanks to 312 Pizza Company for having us here today. We are out of here. We will be back with full reaction tomorrow at 2.